Starlight doesn't just give items that hospitalized kids can use to keep themselves happy, but also memories, moments, and experiences which are so needed in times like these. They allow sick kids to just be kids for a little while. The support that Starlight provides to families like mine is an integral part to creating happiness at a time when there's very little to be found. Learn more about how Starlight Children's Foundation brightens the lives of sick kids by visiting starlight.org today.
It's time to get up and get your day started.
Morant. Oh! A jawbreaker!
It's Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports 56 Mornings is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Now, here are your hosts, Greg and Eli.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome in to the Thursday edition of Sports 56 Mornings, the October 10th, 2024 edition to be exact. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Elijah Seegers with you. It is, of course, the mecca of broadcasting, the Family Leisure Studios. That's where we broadcast from each and every day. And you can go visit the folks at Family Leisure, check out the world's biggest spa sale. Do so today if you like. 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. And the first hour of the program is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Weather-wise here in the metropolitan Memphis area in the Mid-South, another nice day on tap. A little cool this morning at 53 degrees currently, but it will heat up very rapidly. 83 for a high today with sunshine. Then tonight, clear skies, an overnight low of 54 into your Friday, where the temperature is expected to be in the mid-80s. Should get up to near 90 by Sunday. The weekend, again, looks to be sunny and dry. And then into next week, the temperature will start to go down. It'll feel more like fall, but again, sunshine in the forecast for the foreseeable future. Coming up on the program today, once again, jam-packed show for you. We will be joined at about 7:30 by the new head coach of the Memphis Showboats, Ken Whisenhunt, who's in town. We had him on a couple of weeks ago when the announcement was made that he would take over, former head coach of the Titans and the Arizona Cardinals in the National Football League. It will be Ken Whisenhunt in studio with us at about 7:25, 7:30 or thereabouts. At 8:05, we're scheduled to be joined by Coach Ryan Silverfield, as we are every week. Now, this week, with the game originally set for Friday at South Florida, we had him on for Wednesday. Then it got moved to Thursday, with the game being moved to Saturday. As far as the game is concerned, right now, as of this moment, it's still on, but it is subject to change, as we'll talk about in just a few moments. But Coach is expected to join us at 8:05, followed by the Tiger Football Report. At 8:25, at 8:45, we'll talk Major League Baseball postseason with Kerry Miller from Bleacher Report. And then from 9 to 10, it's the AutoZone Liberty Bowl Inside College Football Hour with Harold Grader. A lot of big matchups this weekend to talk about. We'll have our world-famous Pick 6, where one of you will go up against one of us for some delicious Central barbecue. You can always hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines by calling in or texting in at 901-360-8255. Grizzlies play a home preseason game tonight. We'll talk about that. More decisions made by the NCAA and the Division I Council. We'll go over that. We got NFL news as the new week of NFL play begins tonight with the 49ers and the Seahawks. We'll have that game for you right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, beginning with the pregame at 7 o'clock. And as I mentioned, we'll talk baseball with Kerry Miller, and I'm sure I will be crying a little bit after what happened to the Phillies last night and in the series against the Mets. We also have a Memphis Tiger who has hit the transfer portal. So that's all coming up on the program today. Good morning.
Good morning.
So right now, 3 million without power in Florida. I've texted my sister who lives in Orlando to find out if she's okay. There's a ton of flooding. There is power lines down in a lot of places. There is the unbelievable sight of Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, right across the bay from Tampa Bay, where the roof is basically off. And yet we sit here still scheduled for football Saturday afternoon, 2:30 Central at Raymond James Stadium for the Tigers and South Florida. Again, Coach is going to join us. They're going to have a ultimate decision today when they assess more of the damage. Now that it's daylight, I'm not sure how much sun is there, if any, in the Tampa area, but the assessment will take place and then the decision to play. But I just don't see, Eli, how they can play. Millions and millions without power.
Yeah. This whole thing has been perplexing to me. I just don't get it. I don't understand the thought process from the beginning, why this game wasn't moved to a different location. I just don't. In a city and area that's destroyed, I don't see how you can just go out a couple days later and play a football game and act like, people are dying. There are people that are dead. There are people that will be trying to piece their lives back together. And you're like, yeah, we're going to play a football game.
Right.
I just don't, I don't know. I just don't see how you do that. It just is very strange to me.
Well, and the other thing is, and this again is very, very low as far as the importance, right? The football game pales in comparison to people's lives ravaged. Hopefully there's no fatalities, but we know different, that I'm sure there will be, unfortunately and tragically, and people's homes and businesses and things of that nature. Football game, that doesn't matter. But with that said, if this game ends up being canceled and not able to be made up, it's an epic failure on the part of the league. Because this game should have been moved right away, if not to Memphis, a neutral site, and instead of South Florida relocating to Orlando, they could have come up to another facility wherever they decided to play that game. I'm sure some program would be able to help them out. I don't know all the intricacies that would take place. I just know they could have done it, I'm sure. And who knows if this game is moved to moved to Sunday night, Monday. I don't know what's going to happen. But when Ryan joins us, he's not going to have any answers. I don't believe at 8:05, an hour from now. But they're going to have answers today. So I saw this yesterday. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, and the NFL are partnering to make Raymond James Stadium a mission venue, an emergency shelter. Remember when we had Mike Seidel on the show? Formerly of the Weather Channel, now Fox News. I said that to him, and he said, no, they won't use that. It's an open stadium, and it could be flooded. But I'm reading this from Pro Football Post. Raymond James Stadium has been known before to be used as a shelter because it's the closest to those affected by Hurricane Milton. So, again, I was sent this yesterday. I don't know if that's accurate or not. Obviously, if there are people who cannot get back to their homes and are still in the general area, they need shelter. If they're using that, there's no game. They can't play. So, again, there's lots of people. I just mentioned 3 million. Now, that's Florida. That's not just the Tampa area. I read something from the mayor earlier, if I could find this, where, here it is. Yeah, Tampa Mayor Jane Castor said, what we were really worried about was the storm surge. Unfortunately, we didn't see the peak of it, but it's not over. That was as of overnight hours. At 7 this morning, when high tide comes in, rivers are going to flood, is what she said. So even though they didn't, it stayed a little bit south, still got devastated, but it wasn't the direct impact. And I guess that's good, but still, overall, it's catastrophic. The landfall was near Siesta Key, and it hit as a 3. Of course, it was a 5 there for a while, then a 4, hit as a 3, still well over 100-mile-per-hour winds, 120 with gusts. So that's what was happening overnight as we were sleeping, and people in Florida were sleeping. Or maybe they couldn't sleep.
I guess they weren't.
Yeah. Again, my sister still hasn't texted me. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I know there's a lot of flooding in Orlando, and that's where South Florida relocated the football team to. So that's where we stand right now at 7:09 as far as that's concerned. Our thoughts and prayers are with everybody in the wake of that hurricane, which is now off into the Atlantic. Just a strange hurricane that went west to east as opposed to south to north. But as far as football, maybe we'll get more of a understanding when Coach joins us. I still have coaches meetings scheduled as a part of the broadcast team. We're scheduled to meet with the coaches today starting at 11:30. So that's where things stand as far as that is concerned. In the meantime, as I mentioned to start the show, there's a lot going on. We have the NFL week kicking off. College football started Tuesday. There's games every day. Last night, Jacksonville State over New Mexico State, 54-13. I believe there's 3 games on tap for tonight. The NFL, as I mentioned, kicks off with the 49ers and Seahawks. And the Grizzlies at home tonight against the Charlotte Hornets in their second of 5 preseason games, their first at home. Yesterday, Taylor Jenkins said that Ja's MRI indicated a mild ankle sprain, as they had presumed. He did not practice yesterday, not expected to play tonight. Jenkins says they'll be very cautious with Ja, but expects him to be ready for the season opener. In other words, he's not playing in the preseason. I know we had DeMichael Cole on yesterday, and he said, doesn't necessarily mean that he's not going to play. In fact, I thought DeMichael said that he thought he would play. There's no way he's playing. You know how cautious they are. If it was a game tomorrow, a regular season game, he'd be playing. I would doubt it. I would be shocked, I would say, if all of a sudden in one of these meaningless exhibition games he played.
Yeah, I'm sure they would have loved to have gotten the guys out there together, but I don't. I would guess that he probably doesn't play maybe in the last game of the preseason if they think he's good enough to go. Maybe Jaron's good enough to go. They try and get the starters some minutes together at least, but I would not expect. I certainly wouldn't expect it.
It's just amazing how they just can't find this precious time together. Now they've had camp, but Jackson was down. They've had off-season get-togethers, pick-up, and things of that nature. I'm not sure if they all were participating. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I just know when it comes to actual game action, including these preseason games, we still don't see them all together. And that's a little concerning, especially when you're implementing a new offense. So they could struggle out of the gate. The schedule's not real tough on paper out of the gate, but you don't want to lose games early to teams that you probably should take down. Even on the road, the opener against Utah, not that Utah's going to roll over and die, but it's Utah. They're expected to be at the bottom of the West. One of the teams that will be more than likely outside the playoff or the play-in hunt. And you want to be ready to go, and you may be still taking baby steps as far as getting that offense clicking the way it needs to have the type of season you think you can have. So again, tonight, a little dress rehearsal over at FedEx Forum, the Grizzlies and the Hornets. If the
Grizzlies Hornets preseason action without Ja Morant doesn't get your blood flowing, I don't know what does. I mean, that's whew. Get your tickets and get on down to FedEx Forum for tonight's game. Should be a dandy.
I will spare you me going off on my Phillies. I will just say simply, the bullpen sucks. I knew it before. It proved me to be right, and I am depressed. So I'm doing this show injured. I'm doing this show less than 100%, let's just say. More mentally than physically, but after watching what I watched against the dreaded Mets, their rivals, the Mets win. My I tip my cap to Mets fans around the world. My late mom was a Mets fan, not a Phillies fan. Mets beat the Phillies last night 4-1 or late in the afternoon. Won the series 3-1. Francisco Lindor, who I had picked for the National League MVP. Of course, the Mets got off to such a slow start, and they were playing catch-up ball the entire time. He comes through big time with the grand slam in the bottom of the 6th inning. Just love that Phillies bullpen. Guy comes in, first pitch, second pitch. I forget which pitch it was, first or second, grand slam. Game over. So the Mets move on to the National League Championship Series. Again, this is a team that Steve Cohen, the owner, was going berserk early in the year. Remember they talked about trading the polar bear at the deadline, at the trade deadline? Here they are in the NLCS. Now, who are they going to play? The Dodgers, the Padres come down to Game 5 tomorrow in Los Angeles. The Dodgers had to win last night. 8 pitchers, count them 8, combined on a 7-hit shutout of the red-hot Padres. They win 8-0 in San Diego. Mookie Betts, again, another home run. Will Smith, a home run. Gavin Lux, a home run. Shohei Ohtani, off to a slow start in the postseason, even though he has a home run, did have an RBI single. And so that series now even at 2.
Yeah, who'd have thunk it? The Dodgers spend $1 billion in the offseason, and their season comes down to 8 relatively no-name pitchers to combine on a shutout to keep them alive. Playing without Freddie Freeman, but Mookie Betts, who came into this postseason on a horrendous postseason stretch, has certainly he has turned into Mookie Betts again in the postseason. He has been unbelievably good, and the bullpen game worked against Dylan Cease. The other thing is, the Dodgers spend $1 billion in the offseason. The Padres make all of their moves that they make. Padres think, okay, Dylan Cease, this is the guy. They've got Dylan Cease versus the Dodgers bullpen game to try and advance. And lo and behold, Cease can't get out of the second inning. The Dodgers shut him out with 8 pitchers, and we've got baseball.
Yeah, and Mike Schilt, former Redbirds and Cardinals skipper of the Padres, saying yesterday before the game, we're not worried about pitch count. Cease is ready to go. He'll go as long as, he's effective, and he was effective for no innings. Inning and 2/3, I think, is what it was. Like you said, less than 2 innings. Dylan Cease loses, and the Dodgers get 8 guys to combine for the win. In the American League, Detroit shuts out Cleveland. Cleveland has now gone 20 innings without a run. The series, again, 3 games deep as Cleveland takes a 2-1, the Tigers take a 2-1 series lead, all shutouts. They've all been shutouts. And again, back-to-back shutouts for Detroit. They can wrap it up today in the Motor City.
Yep, and the Tigers with the bullpen game shutout. So, going into yesterday, in the history of Major League Baseball, no team had ever thrown a shutout in the postseason in which the starting pitcher got 4 or fewer outs. Never had happened in the history of Major League Baseball going into yesterday. Yesterday, 2 teams did it.
Go figure. It's baseball.
I mean, it's just
anything and everything can happen.
It's just so crazy. I mean, in the postseason, the teams are reduced to going to bullpen games. Mm-hmm. Like, they don't have a starting pitcher. It's amazing. But yesterday it worked beautifully for the Tigers and the Dodgers. So who knows?
A.J. Hinch, a veteran manager. I'm not going to say he outcoached or outmanaged Stephen Vogt, who's a rookie for Cleveland. But it worked, as you said, with the decision to do a bullpen game in Game 3 of the American League Divisional Series. In the other one, the Yankees got an 8th-inning home run from Giancarlo Stanton, and they nipped Kansas City in Kansas City 3-2. So the Yankees go up 2-1 in that series, and they can wrap it up with a road win today.
Yeah, huge home run for Stanton. You kind of forget about him. You got Soto, and Aaron Judge, and Judge still doesn't have a hit in the series, and you forget that, there's also Stanton, who's pretty darn good in that lineup. And their bullpen was outstanding. They were fantastic. Their bullpen in that game to hold the Royals off and give them that opportunity to hit the home run. So
wait, bullpens are supposed to be effective? I didn't know that.
They can be. They can be. Yankees four and a third, just 2 hits, no runs for their bullpen last night.
Meanwhile, the Phillies bullpen.
The Dodgers bullpen was fantastic. They threw 9 shutout innings, and the Tigers bullpen threw 9 shutout innings.
The Phillies bullpen in 4 games only had 2 innings where they did not give up a run, and many times gave up multiple runs, including 5 and 4 and 3.
They had 2 innings last night. They didn't give up a run.
Yeah, I know, but
so that can't be the only 2 of the series.
No, they gave up 2 going into that. But they they scored 80% of the innings they pitched. They scored on the – come on. That was the worst performance. And if you watch the game and listen to A.J. Pierzynski, he went off on that in the 6th or 7th inning. I've been telling you about that since day one, about that bullpen. It's just once the starter goes out, it's over. Now, Ranger Suarez had all kinds of problems, but he kept getting out of those problems. He kept making problems for himself and was able to get out of the situation. Once he went to the pen, it's like, nah, it's over. It's over. So I mentioned Memphis did have a player yesterday that hit the portal. Taj Rael, safety, who has played in 4 games, missed the opener. That was when it looked like he was off the team, and then he was back on the team. He's a transfer from Old Dominion. He had 19 tackles. He was coming into his own, and now he's gone. So I would assume he's still eligible for a red shirt, and he is moving on somewhere back in the portal. Taj Rael. Memphis basketball, of course, Tuesday is the exhibition doubleheader. The games for St. Jude. And again, if you can make it out there, please think about purchasing some tickets. Memphis men versus North Carolina men, and then the Memphis women versus South Carolina. And their defending national champion women's team, all for St. Jude. Memphis will have a 7-footer in town that they are recruiting, a JUCO center, Mady Traore. So he'll take his official visit to Memphis on Tuesday. He'll be at the game on Tuesday night. The Division I Council has approved elimination of the National Letter of Intent and the transition into NCAA signing and recruiting rules. So in other words, if I've read this correctly, Eli, so there's no National Letter of Intent. Once a player goes in the portal and once that player commits to that school, I guess verbally, or they got to still document it, don't they? And then other schools have to cease from trying to contact that player.
Yeah, the National Letter of Intent was a dumb thing. Because it never made sense. The school was not obligated to the kid. The kid was only obligated to the school. I don't know exactly what the document is now or what it'll be or all that stuff, but the National Letter of Intent should have been done away with a long, long time ago.
Yeah, it says, per the NCAA, transfers will be able to sign, written offers with new schools. Other schools will be prohibited from recruiting communications with them after they sign. So again, cease and desist? And we'll see if that happens. We know that tampering goes on a lot in major college sports. There's no question about that. Okay, and then Aaron Rodgers said, "I resent the patently false allegations that I got Robert Saleh fired," as he made his appearance on the Pat McAfee show. So Rodgers, distancing himself from the Saleh firing, said he had nothing to do with it, said he is very, very close to Robert and his family. So you got that going for yourself, which is nice. What is nice is taking your basketball skills to a great place to make your game better. That's Shoot 360 Memphis. They have the new Cordova location open, the newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility with 2 NBA regulation size courts, 3 high school size courts, 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. They also have the location in Collierville, so you can become a member of both. They now have monthly memberships, which is really the way to go. Try it out for a month, see what you think, and then go from there. But if you want to become a better player overall, but also in particular a better shooter, it makes sense to join Shoot 360 Memphis, a revolutionary basketball training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with gamification, provides instant, objective feedback with hands-on, one-on-one, expert coaching. You can call them in Cordova at 901-779-3176 or in Collierville at 901-779. Make that 901-316-5500. Again, Cordova, 901-779-3176. And in Collierville, 901-316-5500. You can also just simply go online to Shoot 360 Memphis and sign up for membership there. The future of basketball training is here at Shoot 360 Memphis. When we come back, the new head coach of the Showboats, Ken Wisenhunt, joins us in studio. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Looking for an engagement ring that will really knock her socks off? You need to be at Genesis Diamonds.
It's such a privilege at Genesis Diamonds for us to work with the world's finest designers, to be able to offer brands like Tacori and Verragio, and we're excited to be able to give you something that nobody else can.
Genesis Vice President David Cooper.
The craftsmanship, the detail, the quality, the individuality is bar none better than anything else.
Genesis has been selected as an exclusive provider for every top designer from New York and California with over 4,000 brands to choose from. And if that's not enough, they can create something that's truly one of a kind.
Custom craft your work, anything you can imagine. We have the capabilities to realize any dream you have. Things that never starts with a new. We've been doing it for 34 and 5 years already.
So don't settle for a mediocre style design. You deserve. I'm David Cooper from Genesis Diamonds, and I'm excited to see you show. It's extended.
The 2025 Range Rover Sport sits right at the heart of the Land Rover lineup, offering a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility. Smaller and more agile than a full-size Range Rover, it's a great option for everyone who wants luxury and practicality. Every model comes with 8-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive standard. Whether you navigate city streets or tackle rough terrain, Range Rover Sport has you covered. Every drive is powerful and breathtaking. The 2025 Range Rover Sport is the epitome of sporty luxury. Test drive one in Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City.
When you think about insurance and you want great value without sacrificing great service, I want you to think one place: the Eflin Insurance and the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his group of professionals will access 10 leading companies to find the right home and auto program that fits your budget and your absolute needs. The Eflin Insurance team, the number 386-GER, 386-4777.
Is your house or your office building? Impossible! Not call Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces: concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal their surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash 915246799 or online at wilsonsprowash.com.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Sports 56 traffic.
There's still some rubbernecking going on as people drive by the earlier wreck on 40 eastbound out here on US 64. Again, the heaviest flow of traffic's coming the other direction. They're coming in from Fayette County on 40 going westbound as you come past Canada Road, Highway 64, starting to pick up with more volume on Ossipee Highway, getting up on that ramp there to I-40. Hey, at the Humane Society of Memphis Shelby County, you can adopt a pet and change a life. Log on to memphishumane.org for more information. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back, everyone. 7:30 the time on this Thursday morning. As I mentioned, big show, plenty of pigskin to talk about. We got Coach Ryan Silverfield from the University of Memphis joining us at 8:05. 9 o'clock, it's the AutoZone Liberty Bowl Inside College Football Hour with Harold Grader. But right now, very pleased to be joined by the new head coach of the Memphis Showboats, Ken Wisenhunt. He was on with us on the phone, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, when the announcement came down, and now we have him in studio. Welcome to Memphis. Hope your trip has been good. I know you get out of town, I guess, today, right?
Yeah, out of town today. It's been great. It's been great. It's really, just seeing the city and being involved and being around and seeing all the areas has been really, really good.
Have you had any experience with this city, having coached just 3 hours down the road? Any background with coming to Memphis at all?
No, not really. One of my roommates in college was from here, so I knew about it. And I had been here with him a couple of times, but never really spent a lot of time here.
So you, I don't know if was it yesterday or 2 days ago, I can't remember, but you got to be the duck master.
How about that?
So I mean, that's got to that's got to rank way up there in career achievement.
Well, it was surprising that I didn't know more about it because it's really an incredible experience. It's really something that's crazy that they get to do that. So it's right up there with winning a Super Bowl.
Did you call for an RPO? What was the play call with the Ducks? What you put in? Did they follow your instructions?
I tell you what, it's a lot like these young players that you got to stand behind them with a little stick and try to get them to do the right thing.
You got to prod them along a little bit. Well, for those who don't know your career, obviously you played at Georgia Tech, long time in the NFL. As a head coach with the Cardinals, did a magnificent job into the Super Bowl. The Titans, you were a head coach there. You've won a Super Bowl as an assistant coach. So it's been a pretty illustrious career. And then recently, college. And you were a part of Saban's staff at Alabama. I'm sure that was pretty interesting. I'll ask you about that specifically in a moment. But why the Showboats? Why now? This opportunity was presented to you and you jumped on it.
To be honest with you, I have a son-in-law, Zach Mattenberger, and he was a quarterback. We had actually drafted him, and he played in the league for a little while, and then he really had no avenue to get back in. So he was playing in some of the spring leagues, some of the ones that were in Texas or when they were the startups.
Right.
And
he played here, too. You know that, right?
He did play here. Yeah, I knew that, too. And so, just seeing that and knowing that there is a need for something like that to help develop these guys, because in the NFL now, when they get into camp, a lot of these guys are getting cut at the end of camp, and then they've got nowhere to go to get better. They'll go to a trainer or they'll go to somebody else, but, playing football is what's important, and this could be a great opportunity to help develop these guys for the NFL. So that's what intrigued me a little bit, I think.
What has it been like since you've officially gotten the job, as far as trying to start thinking about, okay, how do we go about doing this, putting together a team, putting together a staff, all of those things?
Well, I've had a little bit of experience doing that, with the times in the NFL. So there's a lot of people that call you. There's a lot of people that you call, but it's more about getting the scope of what's involved, what can you do, what's the limitations, and getting with that and getting going with that, which has been good. Russ has been really good.
Russ Brandon, the president.
Yeah, Russ Brandon, the president, has been really good. So is Daryl, as far as giving you insight or having any questions, and so is all the people here that you've had questions. You can talk about it, even though. It's not like it's only been up for a year. So I think the structure of it is pretty much what you expect. There's something that's how, and you just implement your plan based off of that.
So obviously the rules are a bit different. As a coach now in a new league, what do you do? Just dive into the rule book and learn that? You just take periodically start to look at things before camp opens up and the season starts, because you got to obviously get used to what they do in this particular league.
Yeah, I was on the competition committee in the NFL, so that was the rule-making body. So I got, I was involved with the process of how they came up with the rules and what was, and how they implemented them. So I'm not that means anything other than I understand that the rules are going to be different, and then you have to adapt based off of what you see and how you're going to implement those things. So I'm not really worried about that. I know that they've done a great job of setting this league up, and now it's great to come in here at this time and be able to say, okay, let's see if we can have some success and win some games here.
Jim Monos is the GM, who he also has an extensive NFL background in building teams. So the time you've been able to talk with him, spend with him, what's that kind of like as far as your relationship and how you guys will go about building this team?
It's been really great. really great. I mean, he thinks a lot like I do from the standpoint of his background. He's been in the league for a while and been very good at what he'd done. Once again, with Russ Brandon, he'd spent time with him. And so I think we're going to work well together. We've talked, hours on the phone about what we're looking for at positions. What about our team? It's hard because all you can do is look at the tape. You don't really have a feel for your team, and there's so much flux with that. But I think as far as of course, you got to get the important position, which is the quarterbacks. I know there's 3 on our team, but I haven't really had a chance to sit down and talk with them or go through as much tape. But that's what the next couple of months is going to be all about.
Do you want to implement the systems that you had implemented in Arizona and Tennessee, or has things changed so much that you're looking to do different things? Obviously, the personnel dictates a lot of that, but is it basically going to be what it was for you previously? And if so, what is that for the people out there listening? What do you want to do offensively, defensively?
Well, I think we're going to run a version of an NFL offense. The biggest thing is it's probably not going to be as complex because you don't have as much time. Now, as you go forward and you're able to keep guys or retain guys, obviously these guys want to get back to the league or, have success in another venue. But as you can build up some kind of familiar recognition of what you're doing, then you can implement more things. But a lot of it's going to come down to the players that we have. I think one of the things that I've learned is that you have to do what your players can do. There's a lot of guys I know that I've seen fail because this is my system, this is how you do it. That's not what we are. We are going to try to do it, make it so that these guys can perform well in that, and then we'll adapt it as we move along.
You haven't done it yet, but you just mentioned that obviously in the NFL you got your OTAs and everything else. You got plenty of time with new guys leading up to a season to install stuff. That's not the case in this league. So have you thought about how you kind of go about putting stuff in a condensed time versus what you're used to in the NFL?
Well, in the NFL, when we get the rookies in, so we have rookie minicamp in the NFL, and you get a time with these guys that don't know anything, and you're trying to teach them in a weekend how to be prepared for what they're going to do when they come in with the veterans. So I think there's a template from that, as far as a base thing of what you want to get done. And then as you get more and more time with these guys and as you see if they can handle it, then you try to implement that. So, it'll be a pro offense. It's because, from the basics of that, it's just going to depend on, do we have a slot receiver that's a really good player? Do we have an X receiver that can win one-on-one? What about a running back situation? Do we have, the biggest thing now in the game is matchups with tight ends, because if you can get a tight end, you can create matchups that way. So a lot of that's what's going to go into it, and hopefully it'll be a exciting offense.
Spoken like a former tight end.
Yeah, how about that?
So you talked about the pro style offense. Has the pro style offense changed in the sense that when you were playing, it's not like you're ancient, but when you were playing, you pocket passers, right? They weren't taking the ball and running. They didn't want the quarterbacks to get killed. They sat in the pocket and they picked you apart. If they were really good, that's what they did. If not, they weren't in the league that long. Now you have these dual threats. It's college now almost into the pro game when you have guys who can run, can tuck and run. What is your thought about that now, and has that changed the NFL game at that position?
Well, I think talking about right now, a lot of the guys that we're going to get are more used towards the college side than they are the pro side.
Right.
So some of that is what you're going to have to take into consideration as you go forward. But if you're developing a pro style offense where they can drop back and stay in the pocket and pass, and I'm not saying that the guys that run don't do that as well. Mm-hmm. We're just going to have to blend it and see how it works. I think being in college for a couple of years, kind of gives you an idea of what they do and what the challenges you face with that. So at least I think I've got a little bit of a background in that, which can help me. But some of it too is your coaches. What kind of backgrounds do they have? What are they used to coaching? So it's all a big jigsaw puzzle that you're trying to put together. But we're going to aggressively try to run a pro system, and hopefully we'll be able to acquire some guys that can help push that forward. But obviously, the more time you get with these guys, the better you're going to have a chance to be successful with it.
Sure.
But we're going to try to push them, but we're not going to try to say, if you can't do this, we got to adjust to this, then we'll do that.
The year you spent at Alabama, obviously you've been around football your whole life and you've been coaching forever. Spending the 1 year with Nick Saban, who many people believe is the greatest college coach of all time, what was that like? Were you like, are you learning things? Like, what was just that year with a guy like that who's that respected in the game? What was it like for you as a veteran?
It was fortunate for me just to be able to experience it because I had some interest from college about coaching, and I wanted to see what a college program was about, and I got the opportunity to do that. And, it's amazing. He is an incredible coach, and the level of detail that he goes through, how he cares about the players, what they do is the reason that they've been successful. But now he pushes the guys, and they run a pro-style defense, and they have a quarterback there now, Milroe, who is more like what you're talking about, guy that can move around and do it. So it's a little bit different from that perspective. But they've had quarterbacks that were drop-back quarterbacks. So I think the biggest thing that I learned is, number one, you got to have a system that you believe in and you stick to, but you got to be flexible and you got to have the ability to adjust. So that's what I've learned from that. I think it was a difference. It was a big difference for me seeing college football players and how they prepared and what they could do. So that was good for me. So I think that can help me in this job because a good portion of the players that we get are going to be guys that have just come out of college. So, it is. I think it's just what you believe in and how you can coach these guys. And the biggest thing is that you don't. I don't believe in saying this is the system. This is what we're going to do.
Right.
I believe in saying this is what we want to do, but we're gonna adjust it based off of who we got doing it.
New head coach of the Showboats, Super Bowl champion, former head coach of the Cardinals and the Titans in the NFL, Ken Wisenhunt, joining us here in studio. So let me ask you this. The college game, again, the last few years you've been with the college, but mainly you're a professional coach and all. The game has changed. NIL, players getting paid now. It's almost a free agency system with the portal. I always hear that the top-tier programs, it's kind of like a pro team. So you've experienced both. Is Alabama like a professional team, or is it, it's college? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, it is gearing towards being run like a professional team on a lot of levels because now you're seeing colleges that saying they have GMs. Whereas before, when your way of acquiring players was recruiting them, and that was just from sending your coaches on the road and getting commitments for these guys. But now that's not as prevalent because of the ability of these players to go from one team to another, and they have handlers, for lack of a better word, that are out there looking for opportunities for their players. You got to have somebody that's maybe not actively involved with the coaching staff that can understand what the coaching staff needs, but also can manage all of these guys and all of the handlers of these players.
Right.
So it is, it's complex. It is. They kind of went into it without really having any kind of established way of doing it and what the yeses and the nos are about it. And they're going to have a hard time putting the genie back in the bottle.
That's true. I believe that's true.
So there was an event last night for you to get out and meet some of the fans, and you told a story last night about your time at Arizona and Kurt Warner. Could you tell that little story about with Kurt Warner and the quarterback competition?
Well, yeah, it was funny because Kurt had been a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and then he had been traded, and he was latter part of his career. And he came to the Cardinals. He was there before I got there. But when I got there, he was already there in place. He was the guy that they had signed the previous year to be their quarterback. They had drafted Matt Leinart before I'd gotten there. So they had those two guys, and they were their quarterbacks. And Kurt was still super, super competitive. So the first year we started, Matt was our starter because he was, I think, picked 10th in the draft, and he was a good young quarterback. And we got about 5 games in, and he got hurt. So then Kurt came in because Kurt was the backup. And he played really well. So of course, what happens at the end of the season? We ended up getting to 8-8, which was 500 record, which they hadn't done that in a while. And people were really excited. But then it became because Kurt had a lot of success for the back part of the season, and then you had a young player like Matt Leinart, who's going to be the quarterback? That's all I heard for the whole offseason. Who's going to be the quarterback? Who's going to be the quarterback? So, we said that we're going to do a quarterback competition, and we did. We did a legitimate quarterback competition. We put it on both of them. We said we were going to go through the training camp. We were going to see who was going to be the best, and they were going to play. And of course, everybody was skeptical. There's like you're not, especially Kurt, because he didn't think he was going to get a job. He was going to get a chance. So we got through camp. Matt was still learning and growing, and to be honest with you, Kurt outplayed him. But during the course of, and this goes back to, remember, Kurt was bagging groceries before he got into one of these leagues, which helped him get into the NFL. So, he would fight you over anything in a minute because he wanted that job. So one day I'm sitting at my desk and he comes walking into my office and he wanted to talk to me about the job because this was right before we'd started camp and when I said we were going to do it as a competition. And he comes running in and he slams his fist on the desk like that and says, if this competition is fair, I'm going to win it. And I was like, here's a guy that has won a Super Bowl, that is now in a competition, and he is still so fired up about, I'm going to compete and I'm going to win if you make it fair. He was so upset about that. It really kind of set the tone for the team that we had that competition, and then Kurt actually won it and ended up playing real well, and we had success with that. So it was really cool.
And he's in the Hall of Fame.
How about that?
And he's in the Hall
from bagging groceries to the Hall of Fame.
Arena football to all that. Before we let you go, we'd be remiss if we didn't ask you about something we talked about before you came on the air. You're from Augusta.
Yes.
And so we are all jealous, especially Eli and myself are golfers. I'm not sure if Elijah's a golfer, but you have not only got the chance to play several times at Augusta National, but you've also worked there as well?
In the Masters, the tournament, yeah, I've worked there. I was on the crew, on the scoreboards. And if you go there, because it's old style scoreboards, and every time they take the panels, they turn them, they pull it down, and then they slide the score in. They change it. So, there's no cell phones there. So there's no communication about who's leading or who's where, And so when you put that panel up, there's all the heads turn to see what happened with one of the leaders. So it's really kind of cool. I always wanted to take the panel and do it a couple of times.
It's like Wrigley Field.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you get that information? How do
they do it through the radios? There's a guy that's managing that scoreboard, and he has a radio, and then he tells the runners, which we were, and we go down and we get a red 7 or a red 8. we open the panel, we pull out the red 6, and we put the red 7 in. And then while it's down, then everybody looks up. Oh, yeah. You put the panel up, and everybody goes, oh, you can't do it when there's somebody on the green or somebody coming because of the outburst of the crowd, if it's somebody that's popular.
Wow. Really, how old were you when you were doing that?
I was in high school.
And how many years did you do it?
I did it for 3 years.
Oh, gosh. I can't even imagine that.
And how many times have you played that course?
A few.
What's your low score?
I shot par there one time.
You shot par at Augusta National?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That deserves a golf clap right there.
But I got to qualify that by saying it was from the members' tees. It wasn't.
Hey, still,
I don't care.
You got to navigate those greens.
I don't care what tees you're playing.
Here's the funny story, because I was on the 18. I hit it into the bunker, and anyway, I had to hit my third shot in, and it was about 8 feet for a putt. So I made the putt, and my caddy jumped up in the air and was running around. And I thought, oh my gosh, he's really excited for me. No, he was betting on me with the other guys. And when I made the putt, he won money. So,
oh, that's incredible.
That's hilarious. Hey, that's a smart caddy.
Yeah, it was fun.
He was probably really mad when you hit in the bunker.
Yeah, he was.
He's like, come on, man, what are you doing to me over here? That's great stuff. Well, hey, it's been great to have you in town. Tickets go on sale October 15th. So what do we got? Just 5 days from now, tickets are going to be on sale for the upcoming season for the Showboat. You can go to theufl.com/tickets for all that, and we're looking forward to it.
Absolutely,
it's going to be fun. Going to be great to have you here, and hopefully it's a great year for the Showboats.
We hope so. The people here deserve that. I was excited to get around some of the people, the yacht club. Some of those guys were crazy, but it's a great community, and I'm looking forward to having some success here.
Looking forward to having you here, Coach. Ken Wisenhunt joining us here in studio.
This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Go to biggreenegg.com or go to the Ace Hardware stores here in town to check out the Big Green Egg in person. 7 different sizes of the egg, whatever size you need. They've got one for you, plus all the egg accessories as well. The best grill there is, last grill you'll ever need to buy, the Big Green Egg.
You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You're a contractor and you need concrete coating and supplies in Memphis fast and you get this answer? I think we can order that stuff, but you're going to have to wait a few days for delivery. Why wait? Get your concrete coatings and supplies now at TSS Supply, where everything you need is in stock. If you're working in the tri-state Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi area, everything you need for concrete coating is at TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road, Memphis. TSS Supply specializes only in concrete coatings and supplies all in one place. If you're looking for a particular item, need large quantities, or just have general questions, call 901-729-0565, 729-0565, or you can email your question to Brad at tsssupply.com. The friendly, knowledgeable folks at TSS Supply have over 150 years combined experience in concrete coatings, materials, and supplies. Contractors, are you in town for a job or getting ready to do a job for a customer during their holiday shutdown? Then you should visit TSS Supply for your concrete coatings and supplies. Why wait for materials when TSS Supply has everything you need in stock and they can get it to you today or within 24 hours? TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road.
Get ready, Memphis. It's our 35th annual Trucktober happening here at Sunrise Buick GMC at Wolf Chase. Big trucks, little trucks, four-wheel drive trucks, two-wheel drive trucks, crew cab trucks, extended cab trucks, diesel trucks, gas trucks. We got red trucks, black trucks, white trucks. We got trucks for big jobs, and we got trucks for weekend warriors. We got trucks with great gas mileage and trucks for all your towing needs. Huge discounts, big rebates, special interest rates. We've got it all. Ford, slow pay, it's all okay at Sunrise, home of the guaranteed approval. Come see us for all your car, truck, and SUV needs. Visit us at the good-looking building on Highway 64 in Bartlett. It's Truck Month. We make it fun to buy a car.
Scott Graham here from Thursday Night Football on Westwood One. From Seattle, NFC West action coming up when the 3-2 Seahawks host the 2-3 San Francisco 49ers. Both are coming off losses last week, and both are looking for their first win in the division. Kevin Kugler and former NFL head coach Ron Rivera will call the action of the 49ers at the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football.
Right here on Sports 56.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmitt Smith on behalf of the Pen, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing gift, because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, the Pen is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, the Pen is donating 30 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for differentiated yards vehicle products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $200,000 void in Mississippi.
Wendy's breakfast burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh American cheese, bacon. And the second bite is like fresh American cheese, bacon. And the third bite, you get the idea. The boss of breakfast burritos, gotta be Wendy's.
Participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Hello, sports fans out there. Walker Taylor here with the Germantown and Collierville Commissary. We just celebrated our 43rd year in business, and I would like to thank our fantastic customers and especially our loyal staff. Time has flown by. We now have a second location, Poplar and Houston Levy in Collierville. Catering is a specialty of ours. 50 to 5,000, no job too small, no job too big. Full service or self-service. We also have a party room in Collierville that is great for rehearsal dinners, business meetings, you name it, we'd love to have you. Also, our barbecue party packs start at $8.75 a person. Barbecue, beans, slaw, bun sauce, including serving utensils. Especially great for tailgating with football season coming up. The commissary restaurants also believe in giving back to the community. Possibly you have been approached by somebody selling a barbecue six-pack coupon for fundraising. Cheerleading groups, church groups, anything to help a worthy cause. Holidays are near. Smoked hams and smoked turkeys will be on the pit before you know it. Come see us at Germantown and Collierville Commissary. Also, check us out at commissarybarbecue.com.
Big announcement from the world of tennis yesterday, but not real surprising. Rafa Nadal announcing that he will retire right after he helps Spain in the Davis Cup. They'll be playing the Netherlands on November 19th through the 21st, and then he will call it a career that included 22 Grand Slam wins, 14 of those French Open titles. Injuries, of course, have really ravaged his career of late. He has I mean, he's as tough as nails to be able to play the way he has played, even through those injuries. But another one of the big three announcing the retirement, following in the footsteps a couple of years ago of Roger Federer. In the meantime, Novak Djokovic just continues to push on. I am looking at the video of Tropicana Field. What are they going to do? Because they are in the midst, are they not, of having to try to get a new stadium? Has it been approved, a new stadium?
I think it's been approved.
In Tampa? So, I mean, this is crazy. I don't know how you repair that sucker. That's millions of dollars to repair that. I mean, they're going to spend that kind of money for the repairs, or are they just going to try to, just basically take the rest of it off and just play in an outdoor stadium, even though it'll be 150 degrees out there in the middle of the summer?
I would assume they will repair it. I don't know. I'm sure they have a decent insurance plan, I'm going to guess.
The insurance company right now is going, oh, my gosh.
Their stadium owner's policy should be up to date, I would think. Just think if they were in the postseason.
Oh, my gosh.
They'd have to relocate.
Go to Miami.
To play the rest of their postseason games.
Yeah, that's devastating. But that's property. There's also a couple of photos of a crane that smashed right through a building in St. Petersburg. Again, you can fix buildings. You can repair roofs. You can't replace lives. And hopefully there's a limited amount, because there's going to be some fatalities. It's the nature of the beast. And that storm was a beast. Ryan Silverfield's going to join us at 8:05. Again, right now, unless Ryan has new information, we do not have anything new on that game. We still don't believe they're going to play it, at least myself and Eli and many other people. But, Coach, they have to go through the preparations as if they're playing that game. And we have coaches meetings set up today for the broadcast team. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what and hear what Ryan has to say coming up in less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's I don't get it.
He's not going to speculate. He's going to do what coaches do, right? You prepare as if there's going to be a game.
They have to. Again, the game's right now. Again, they seemed determined to try and play this game in Tampa for whatever dumb reasons they have. I don't know. They seem bound and determined that they want to play this game in Tampa this weekend. I just don't understand how you think that even makes any sense whatsoever.
Yeah, look, and I know that with all these people without power, this is not Memphis. They have tons and tons of trucks that were in position to help. So probably power will be restored sooner than later. But we're not talking about in an hour or tonight. It's going to take a while because 3 million people are without power in Florida, many in that Tampa area. So, here you lose your power, you'll be out 2 weeks for wind. But as far as that's concerned, it's not their first rodeo in Florida. They're used to these things, unfortunately. It's a part of that state and that region of the country where they deal with hurricanes. It's just unfortunate. Again, all I care about is that the fatality count is low.
Yeah, I mean, beyond the power, there's massive flooding. There's debris. People are going to be trying to put their lives back together.
Yeah, roads are going to be impassable.
They just went through this a couple weeks ago.
Right.
There are people that hadn't been able to put their lives back together from that, and then all of a sudden you're hit again. I just don't see how you go, in a couple of days, come on out to a football game. That'll make you feel better about your house that's destroyed.
Ross Dellinger posting a picture from Nashville, so I guess he's there for those meetings that are taking place. We talked about a lot yesterday between the SEC and the Big Ten. I assume they're the only two, right? It's just those two leagues talking?
Yeah.
And so Dellinger posts a photo of a cookout and a sign outside of Cookout. It says, the only place you are going to play in the SEC that's not hard to play, Vandy, Nick Saban. Yeah, but here's the thing. Nick Saban didn't coach this particular team that lost to Vanderbilt. So, all bets are off.
But again, it shouldn't.
He said what he said.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can look.
He wasn't coaching the team.
You can look at the crowd and see it wasn't real tough to play. I mean, it was Alabama fans.
Right, you're playing in front of your crowd.
That was his whole thing. Like you're probably got more fans than they have there, so it's a very easy environment to play in. It's the home team that has to use like silent count because of crowd noise. That's a little different at Vanderbilt than it does in other places. Genesis Diamonds, Poplar and Perkins Extended for all those jewelry needs. If you're thinking about an engagement ring or maybe a pair of earrings or a necklace, whatever it is, maybe one of those pre-owned Rolex watches, go see the folks at Genesis Diamonds. Selection, price, service, you can't beat what you get at Genesis Diamonds. And they've got something for every budget out there. When you talk about engagement rings, all the top designers, massive selection of diamonds, lab-grown diamonds, natural diamonds. They can explain the difference, what you should be looking for, what affects pricing, all of those things. A great staff to help you pick out that perfect ring for that perfect somebody. Go check them out. Again, Genesis Diamonds, Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Coach Ryan Silverfield joins us next to open up Hour 2. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code YEAR to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa set. It's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. Family Leisure has spas that start at just $28.99. You know those cold plunges? You can get one for yourself starting at $39.99. Or how about swim spas? They start at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some patio furniture, it's all priced to move out now. It's not too late to have some summer fun, courtesy of Family Leisure. But you better hurry up. The world's biggest spa set might go on forever. Family Leisure. Whitten Road at I-40. Family and fun come together.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. They're still out there working with that overturned truck that's over to the side. It's not blocking traffic, just causing rubbernecking delays out through there on 40 eastbound at US 64. Of course, the heaviest flow is on the other side right now on 40 westbound, coming in from Fayette County into that section of Shelby County as traffic increases now. 385 Billmores Parkway getting up on that ramp there to 240. Weimer's Jewelry serving the Memphis area now for well over 40 years, no matter what the occasion is. Go by and see them first. Save a lot of money by shopping local at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
This is Original Sports Station. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis.
Now, back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Diamonds are forever.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:04 the time. Hour 2 here on Sports 56 Mornings, the Thursday, October 10th, 2024 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Elijah Seegers broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. Currently 53 degrees. It will get up to 83 today under sunshine. And then tonight, clear skies with an overnight low of 54 degrees. The second hour of the program is brought to you each and every day by James Gaddis Jewelers, your family's jeweler, located at 4900 Poplar Avenue between Mendenhall and St. Nick, on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. They've been in Memphis for over 50 years. They started on Summer Avenue half a century ago and have been at the location on Poplar Avenue for over a quarter of a century. They are your bridal, engagement, and anniversary jeweler headquarters. As dependable as any jewelry store in this city and in this area, it's James Gaddis Jewelers for not only your bridal, engagement, and anniversary needs, but for Christmas and Hanukkah presents, birthday presents, anniversary gifts, from watches to bracelets and necklaces to fine gemstones and custom-made jewelry, earrings to pendants. It's James Gaddis Jewelers. Go see them if you need something appraised. James is a certified appraiser and a master jeweler. Say hello and tell him you heard it here on Sports 56 Mornings. James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. Time now to talk to Coach Silverfield.
It's time to talk Memphis Tigers football. It's Sports 56 Mornings weekly visit with Tigers head coach Ryan Silverfield. Brought to you by ATC Fitness with 18 locations in Memphis and the Mid-South. Now, here's Coach Silverfield with Greg and Eli.
He is the head coach of the Memphis Tigers football team. He is Coach Ryan Silverfield, who you can follow on Twitter at @rsilverfield. Coach joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Good morning, Coach.
Morning, guys. How y'all doing?
Doing fantastic. You know, every once in a while, there's strangeness in the world of sports and in the world of college football, and unfortunately, things like this happen where certainly a team you're playing in a location like Tampa is dealing with what they're dealing with. In the meantime, you guys are coming off a bye week, so it's been pretty unusual to be in the situation you're in as you continue to prep for a game that has already been moved once. What can you tell us, Coach, if you can tell us anything at this point about whether or not that game is going to take place Saturday, 2:30 in Tampa?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, thinking about those that were affected and are affected by the hurricane.
Yes.
Obviously, natural disasters are scary things. I've got family, actually, that live 4 miles from the stadium, and they're okay. And actually, probably going to go drive and check on the stadium for me here in a few hours. But all that being said, look, it's we're always concerned about those things. We've dealt through a multitude of things throughout our time here and in this profession that occur. But all that being said, the plan is to still play the game 2:30 tomorrow. On Saturday in Tampa, assuming that everything is still safe. And that, like I said all along, it's right. The number one concern is the safety of our student athletes, and we will never compromise that to play a football game. So full steam ahead as far as we know, and got to prepare and make sure we're on the right track to go out there and do what we're capable of doing.
As the conversations were going on about moving it, everything else, how much are you involved in that? I guess Alex Golish on the other side, or is it mainly between the conference and the administrations of the schools?
Yeah, look, Alex and I know each other pretty well, and we felt it was both, to keep our competitive nature out of it, just to let those other people, that are, he's worrying about taking care of his team. I'm worrying about making sure that we're doing what we need to here, and let the administrations and the conference handle that. So, I know the questions are coming back. Hey, was there any other thought of moving the game? Flying them here? All those things. Those are questions that reality I can't answer. That I've kind of usually I'm neck deep in all of this stuff. But when those things come up, those are better suited for other people because currently enough on the plate. Just making sure that we're handling what we need to with the 200 people in this building.
Is it a challenge for the players of each of these teams to stay focused on practice and getting prepared when in the back of your mind, there's the possibility the game could get changed, moved again, canceled? Do the players, you think, stray a little bit in their thought, or are they all dialed in and locked in and determined to take care of business this weekend?
Greg, first and foremost, I think the challenge for all 18 to 23-year-olds is keeping them focused. I don't care if we're playing the Super Bowl, right? Like it's
that's true.
Let's just call it what it is, right? I mean,
right.
That's the nature of it. But I heard Alex, Coach Goles talk about they've got a lot on their plate, right, guys? I think they moved to Orlando and set up shop down there. I know they're doing a walkthrough in the hotel. I know, he made sure they got a practice in before they left town, so I think the focus of any 18 to 23-year-old is difficult every week. That's a challenge, you hear coaches talk about it. But then obviously there's these circumstances, right? These are unusual. One, when you bump the game, and then two, people read the news and see things. So, and I get that, rightfully so, right? And the concern from family members. And so, but it's our job, and it always will be, is to, hey, when we have the ability to have them in our building, when we're sitting here going over a blitz, right? At 20 minutes of the meeting, it does us no good to think about the what ifs, right? And that's, it goes back, and certainly I'm not, I don't want to get quoted on this, comparing this to like COVID, but, during the COVID years, right? Like, hey, are we playing this game? Is it going to get canceled? Or we're hearing rumors. That's all part of it. And so, but look, I think the challenge is the task at hand. One, to make sure that everybody's safe and sound, but then the focus level's there, regardless of what the outcome may be.
You have your game week routine. How do you handle it when suddenly you had an extra day to that?
Yeah, and I think the challenge of any head coach is to keep everybody organized and then be steadfast when a decision's made, is to move forward and say, okay, here's what we do. So, look, I've always tried to plan ahead. I think, if anybody would ask, they said, I probably got this program plan lined up till like 2029. But, the recruiting calendar will change. Everything will change. Spring game will change. The nature of all that. But you just adjust, right? You got to adopt on the fly. And credit to our young men. They've been phenomenal with their mindset. Okay, hey, guys, by the way, here's what's going to happen. We're pushing the game back, and our staff's been good. In fact, but some of the stuff is literally last second. Okay, I'm going to scramble, guys. Give me 4 minutes. I'm going to adjust this schedule. Here's what's going to happen, and here's what we're going to do. And sorry that it's written on a piece of napkin, but here's the chicken scratch. Let's go forward. And that's what's great. We've been so fortunate with a wonderful staff and the players. Just okay, here's the adjustment. Great. And we all do get in routines, right? That's habitual things, that, especially as coaches and players. Hey, this is what we're going to do on a Wednesday at 2:00. This is what we do on Thursdays.
Yep.
But I think the guys have done a really nice job of adjusting. And look, nothing that we're not accustomed to in this profession.
Did last week's bye week come at a good time, in your opinion? And how did recruiting go? Because I know there's never a dull moment for you guys. Even though the team had a few days off, you were and your staff able to get out there and do some recruiting.
Yeah, I was waiting for the NTSU questions. I'm sitting there saying, all right, let's see how much I can remember. It feels like months ago.
No, we're beyond that.
So I was like, hey, someone said, yeah, in the second quarter on play 17. I'm like, okay, I got it. But not as sharp as I normally am on that stuff. Look, it went well. What's unusual, as you guys know, this year in college football, every team gets 2 to 3 byes, right? Like Florida State, who had played a week 0 game, has 3 bye weeks, which is seems so strange. We have 2. Unfortunately, our last one is right before our last game. So the conference did what they did, and there's some people that had them early, some people have them late, some people have them perfect day between games 4 and games 8. So be it. All that being said, a team like Navy has 3 as well, because they only play 11, in essence, regular season games before possible championship. So all that being said, the bye week was good for us. We got a little bit healthier. You try to take care of their bodies, but you got to keep the guys focused, and you still got to go out there and put in the work. You don't give them a full week off. Recruiting is going very, very well. We're very fortunate. I mentioned in the press conference, guys, that you step out and being here 9 years, there may have been a school, I was visiting a high school in Atlanta. Well, I hadn't been there in 5 years or 6 years, and like, hey, wait, that's right, you're still there. That's awesome, and then you rekindle some of those relationships with some of those coaches, or you get to see some of your commits go practice, go play live. And it's great because people are talking about Memphis on a national level, right? Our coaches were spread out throughout the country, and I made mention to this in the press conference. Like, at first they'd go out there and say, "What's that logo? Is that who is that? Is that the the M with the Tigers? Is that Missouri? Is that
right?
I mean, all sorts of different things. And now it's a nationally recognized brand, and they're like, man, you guys have, and again, credit to all those people. This is not me patting myself, but people are saying, man, you guys are doing a great job. Your program's done a phenomenal job. Oh, I love what you guys are doing. I watched this game. I know about this player. And that really warms your heart because, man, it's an established deal that you've got to continue to build upon. And it makes it easier to walk into a school or go see one of our recruits, and they're like, man, I'm so excited. I'll be up there for this, and I can't wait to be a part of this, and all the wonderful things that we're doing here in the city and this university. So recruiting is going very, very well, as we know. Someone says it's like shaving, right? You got to do it every day or you look like a bum. So we'll keep pushing. Obviously, just not doing it from the road these days.
Is that a Silverfield original right there, or did you get that
No,
from
I
someone?
can't take credit.
Okay.
Look, I'm an old soul. I think an old school coach told me that one time, and you hear those things that stick in the brain, and so
that's a good
I got nothing
one.
original.
I got to remember that one.
So as you get ready for the South Florida team, Alex Golesh, known for the up-tempo offense, all that, they've got a dynamic quarterback who had a big game against you guys last year, although he, I guess, is a question mark for this game with an injury. The record's a little deceiving. They've played 2 top 10 teams, plus their conference game's been against Tulane, who's really good. So what do you see from this South Florida team and what you guys have to do against them?
Yeah, Eli, you're exactly right. I mean, I think people just look at the record and say, oh, well, 14-13 going into the fourth quarter versus Alabama, right? I mean, they gave Alabama all they wanted and more, and at Alabama, right? And then they took Miami, and it was a close game going into the fourth quarter as well, right? Miami's a top 10 team. So you look at those two games, if you just watch up until the fourth quarter and you took the names off the jersey, you'd say, holy cow, these are 2 top 10 teams going at it, and you could not tell the difference. I'm telling you, they got dynamic players. They've done a phenomenal job of adding players in the portal, getting a lot of the South Florida speed, and going toe-to-toe. And then you're exactly right, their last game versus Tulane, who, if anybody's watching what they're doing, I mean, they're playing a very, very high level. And at Tulane, we know how difficult that is to go down there and play. But look, they still have a dynamic quarterback. They're playing as fast as any team in the country, right? They're going to line up, put the ball down. That's going to be a challenge because we have not seen that type of offense. We've seen every offense, I think, imaginable, but this one. So now we're going to get the tempo offense. So we're checking all the boxes of offense creativity. We got to be well. And then they're playing really, really sound defense. They've got a lot of faith in their athleticism. So, like, if you watch the Miami game, Eli, which is kind of blows my mind, they lined up and played man coverage versus Miami. Said our athletes are just as good, if not better, than yours in Miami, and we're going to play you in man coverage and see what you're capable of doing. So, obviously, a lot of confidence in what they're doing in all 3 phases. So, we know how it is. It'll be an interesting atmosphere. Obviously, who knows what the fans will look like down there at Raymond James Stadium, playing in an NFL stadium. They put down new sod, so brand new grass on Monday.
Oh, geez.
I'm intrigued to see how, is that beneficial for the rain, or is that going to be, do I need my waders on? So it'll be a unique atmosphere, to say the least.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if Brown can go. He's so dynamic. That RPO, he can certainly beat you with his legs and his arm. He's got a strong arm as well. But that would be interesting if the ground is wet. It could minimize them to a certain degree. But you have faced these guys. I mean, you got a little taste in a different kind of offense with Horvath and what he was able to do at Navy. What's the concerns about Brown, who I think, again, is one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the country?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think he is the total package with everything he could do. And they gush about how smart he is and what a leader he is and all those things. But it's also, their offensive system. It's right like there. So just so you guys know, it's the fans listening, it's the exact replica of what Tennessee's doing. Now, maybe we can replicate what Arkansas did and hold them 3-0 at halftime. We'll take it. But I think that's just the nature of it. Like that, they're meant to be explosive, right? They're going to spread you out. They got one of the leading receivers in college football over the last couple of years. But the quarterback, he can do so many different things, and so can all their quarterbacks. So if everybody says if Brown's out, what are they capable of? Well, they got two other guys that are built like him, strong, athletic, that can make all the reads and the throws. So it's really, can you get lined up on defense and then go play sound football? Because what they hope is by playing so fast, right, the D lineman's out of his gap, and now all of a sudden it's an explosive run. Or the DBs get caught looking at something else, or then get the call in, and next thing you know, somebody's running by them, or they'll turn a hitch into a 50-yard gain. So we've got to be prepared for all those things. But, yeah, look, it is a unique offense that we've faced, and regardless who's back there as their trigger man, they all pose different threats.
Hey, did you? I'm sure you got a chance to see it yesterday. We've talked before about the portal and the periods for the portal, and hoping that maybe that one in the spring went away. Well, it's not going away. They're going to continue to keep it, but they've cut the days. I think from 45 to 30. There's going to be 10 days in the spring. What were your thoughts about reading about that yesterday?
Yeah, so obviously we talk as a conference head coaches, and we talk as head coaches in general. I think the majority of head coaches just want some normality to this thing, some consistency. I mean, I joked around about having a calendar plan through 2029. I can't plan a calendar through December because guess what? Next week, some new rule is going to change. And they're going to tell me that, hey, by the way, who knows, right? They've already made it where high school kids can't come on campus in December. The sign day is December 4th. Look, neither here nor there. Whoever's making these decisions is making them, and guess what? I smile and nod my head, just like when any woman tells me to do something. I say, yep, I got it. Okay, understood. And don't argue and proceed going forward. And so it's just unique, right? Some of these coaches that were pushing for the 2 transfer windows are the ones that have known to poach rosters. Hey, I need this position. Let me see what Memphis has going on and how much money I can offer. So it's kind of unique, each coach's perspective. I think everybody's happy that it has shrunk down. It's still, guys, this sounds funny because no one wants to hear a head coach complain. But you don't understand the angst you have even on Christmas Day when the portal window's open and your player's getting called and they're not in the portal, right? Maybe it's idle time. I can't babysit them. I can't be at their houses, every second. Like, hey, we'll go out back and play pickleball so no one calls you. So I don't sleep as much when the portal window's open because it's what call am I going to get from a player saying, hey, by the way. Anyways, long-winded answer. Does that mean I adjust? Like in spring, do we move spring football till later, right? So our players are in the middle of football when the window's open, and they're not at home sitting around saying,
right.
I didn't like when Coach Surfield yelled at me that Tuesday 2 weeks ago, and I enjoyed being a little bit closer to home, and this coach has now called me and offered me, an extra lunch if I come here. So it is what it is. We're going to have to adjust.
Right.
I was actually asking our football ops guy to hand me a new calendar so I can make some markings on it and try to figure out what's new. And for the fans, I apologize if the spring window changes again and all these other events are moved around. It's simply not because we don't want to be around you guys. It's because we're trying to figure out the best thing to operate a football program.
Are you a big pickleball player?
No, I wouldn't even know what it is.
He thinks you play with a pickle, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I'm not good at much other, and some would argue that I'm not good at football either. So, look, it's this day and age. There's not a whole lot left in my life other than maybe a little bit of reading here or there, and then what occurs in this program. So, no pickleball here for me. That's, we'll leave that down to those guys at Ole Miss that play.
Note to self, let me get into the calendar business so I can make a lot of money. Apparently, college football coaches and other coaches in sports need a lot of them. Okay, so 8:23 the time right now, and as of now, the game is still on for Saturday. Coach continues to prep his team to go to Florida tomorrow and be in the game Saturday. Obviously, we'll find out more this afternoon if something changes, but it's forward and upward and all that good stuff for Coach Ryan Silverfield. Coach, as always, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Best of luck. Thanks for joining us each and every week.
Absolutely appreciate you guys, and to all of our fans, can't wait to be back home and see you guys in the stadium next weekend. But until then, we'll continue to hope that everybody's safe down in Florida, and hopefully we have safe travels and come find a way to get another win. Thank you, guys. Go Tigers.
Well said. Thanks, Coach. Hey, he's doing what he's supposed to do.
No, he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do.
What every coach needs to do. Just, hey, we're assuming we're playing.
As I said, it's not his decision. He's out of that. That's up to the conference and the administrators, all that stuff. Just very strange to me that we're at this point. Sunrise, it's breakfast time. And if you're thinking breakfast, there's one place you always need to think of here in Memphis for the best breakfast. That would be Sunrise. Either the original location on Jefferson Avenue or Sunrise East on Poplar Avenue in East Memphis. Either place, you're going to find the delicious food for both breakfast and at lunch. Breakfast includes those great biscuit sandwiches, including my favorite, the P-Love, which is the fried bologna with the egg and cheese on one of those beautiful, big old square homemade biscuits that they've got over at Sunrise. Or you can go for maybe one of the breakfast bowls or the kitchen sink, all kinds of different options to choose from at Sunrise for breakfast, plus the lunch menu with great sandwiches and salads that you can take advantage of. You go to sunrise901.com. You can check out the menu. You can order right there online. Makes it very easy. Order online when you go there. You don't have to worry about waiting in line. You just pop in the side door, grab your food, and you are on your way. Again, Sunrise, the original, 670 Jefferson Avenue. Sunrise East, Poplar Avenue in East Memphis for the best breakfast and lunch. Check out Sunrise.
We continue with the Tiger football report as Eli breaks down the Tigers versus South Florida. We'll do that after the break. And then final segment in this hour, we'll talk Major League Baseball with Kerry Miller. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Fall is football at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Monday through Friday is happy hour from 3 to 6 with $1 off all draft meals, $5 off well drinks, $4.50 for house wine, and half off pretzel bites, mozzarella sticks, queso, corn dogs, and pickles. Monday through Friday night lights from 7 to close. Dine in and buy 12 wings and get 5 regular wings for free. Come watch college football and every pro game on the weekends. All at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Highway 70, fall is football.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today.
The 2025 Range Rover Sport sits right at the heart of the Land Rover lineup, offering a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility. Smaller and more agile than a full-size Range Rover, it's a great option for everyone who wants luxury and practicality. Every model comes with 8-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive standard. Whether you navigate city streets or tackle rough terrain, Range Rover Sport has you covered. Every drive is powerful and breathtaking. The 2025 Range Rover Sport is the epitome of sport luxury. Test drive one at Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Right now, we're seeing heavier traffic volume on 40 westbound as you come past Sycamore View Road. Still a problem out there. People are still rubbernecking as they drive by that earlier crash on 40 eastbound at US 64. It was a truck that just laid over. Most of those delays have been just rubbernecking delays going eastbound on I-40 as they clean up that truck crash. It's picked up with more volume on 385 Billmore Parkway coming inbound, trying to get on that ramp there to 240. Weimer's Jewelry, serving the Memphis area for well over 40 years, no matter what the occasion is. Go by and see them first. You'll save a lot of money by shopping local at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, 8:28 here in the Family Leisure Studios. We continue our look at the Tigers game against the South Florida Bulls. The Tiger Football Report. It is brought to you by Bin Swinger Glass, Central Barbecue, Colonial Hardware, and Napa Cafe. Tigers 4-1 on the year, 0-1 in the American Athletic Conference. South Florida 2-3 on the year. They are 0-1 in conference play as well. The game still scheduled as of now for 2:30 Saturday afternoon at Raymond James Stadium down in Tampa. Head coaches, Ryan Silverfield, who we just talked to, 5th year with the Tigers, 35-20 his mark. Alex Golish is in his 2nd year at South Florida with an even 500 mark of 9-9. Both teams coming off bye weeks last week. Tigers' last action was their 24-7 home win against MTSU. USF's last game was a 45-10 loss to Tulane in their conference opener. The Bulls, again, the record a little deceiving because their 3 losses are to Alabama, Miami, and then Tulane. They have played one of the toughest schedules in America to this point. So the 2-3 record a little bit deceiving as far as they are concerned, and some of their statistics a little deceiving as well, having played those teams. It is the 13th meeting in this series, which dates back to 2001. Memphis has an 8-4 record, including a 4-1 mark down in Tampa. Last year was an absolute shootout. Tigers getting a 59-50 win here in Memphis. They have won the last 3 in the series. Tigers offensively, again with that win over MTSU last time out, they extended their streak to 32 straight games with 20 or more points, which is the longest active streak in the country. Overall, they are tied for 48th in offense for the season. They're averaging 429 yards per game. They average 33 points per game, which is tied for 38th in the nation. And with only 3 turnovers this season, the Tigers are tied for 8th in the nation for fewest turnovers, and they are tied for 11th in the nation in turnover margin. So they've been very good at taking care of the football, and they've also been good at taking away the football from the opponent. Last time out, Seth Hennigan had his first career game without a touchdown pass, ending his streak at 41 straight games, which tied him with Marcus Mariota for the second longest streak in FBS history, but that streak is over. For the season, he's at 64% completion, 1,339 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He remains 4 touchdowns behind Brady White for the Memphis career record. His 267 yards per game, that is second best in the American Athletic Conference, 26th in the nation. Last year against USF, as you would expect in a 59-50 game, he had a good one. He threw for 349 yards, had 4 touchdowns, also had 42 rushing yards and a touchdown. So had 5 total touchdowns in that victory last year against the Bulls. Amongst the running backs, Mario Anderson, back-to-back 100-yard games. He's gone over the century mark 3 of his last 4. He now has 438 yards on 76 carries, so averaging just under 6 yards per carry on the season. 8 touchdowns, which is 3rd most in the AAC and 12th nationally. He actually leads AAC running backs in rushing touchdowns. The 2 guys with more rushing touchdowns in the conference, as you might expect, are the Navy quarterback and the Army quarterback. And then he is the number 1 guy among running backs. He's also second on the Tigers in receptions this season. 20 catches he has on the year for 125 yards. Meanwhile, Brandon Thomas has stepped up as the number 2 back with the injuries to Sutton Smith and Greg DeWossier. Thomas has 187 yards on just 26 carries, so he's averaging over 7 yards per carry and has 5 touchdowns. His 31 career rushing touchdowns now put him 5th in Memphis history, 5 behind a trio of backs that are all tied for second place. Thomas did have a touchdown run last year in the game against USF. Among the receivers, Rock Taylor leading the way for Memphis, 23 catches, 333 yards, and 1 touchdown. His 333 yards rank him 5th in the American Athletic Conference. Kobe Drake, 18 catches for 197 yards for second on the team. And Demir Blakepsey, 15 catches for 178. Neither Drake nor Blakepsey has found the end zone yet. Tigers tight ends still lead in touchdown receptions. Anthony Landfear and Brendan Doyle with the 2 touchdowns there. So they have been the targets in the end zone for the Tigers. The Memphis defense, now number 2 in the AAC in both total defense and scoring defense, averaging 18.4 points per game. That also places them 28th in the country, and they're 29th in total defense at 310 yards per game allowed. So a top 30 national defense in both yardage and scoring. They have 9 total takeaways, including 6 fumble recoveries. There's only one team in the country, that being Oklahoma, that has recovered more fumbles than the Tigers' defense this year. In the MTSU game, Elijah Herring made his return after he had missed 2 straight games, and all he did was lead the team in tackles with 10, had 2.5 tackles for loss, and 1.5 sacks. Despite missing 2 of the 5 games, Herring leads the team in sacks with 3.5, and he's second in tackles for loss with 5.5. Leading the way is Chandler Martin. He continues to lead the team in tackles overall with 35 and tackles for loss with 8. He also has 3 sacks and 2 of those 6 fumble recoveries for the Tiger defense. The USF offense, not the normal numbers, but again, you got to take into account the schedule they have played. 368 yards per game, that's 84th in the nation. They've averaged 27.5 points per game, which is 78th in the nation. Here's the one problem they've really had. Even with a dynamic quarterback, they've given up 21 sacks this year. Only South Carolina has allowed more sacks in the country this year than South Florida. The quarterback is number 17, Byron Brown, if he can go. Brown left the Tulane game in the third quarter with a lower leg injury. Alex Golish said earlier this week he is day-to-day. Coming off a bye week obviously helps, and actually the extra day may help him. That may be the key for him playing in this game. Last year, this is how good Brown was last year. He and Jaden Daniels, you probably heard of him, were the only guys in the nation to throw for 3,000 or more yards and rush for 800 or more yards. So it's him and the Heisman Trophy winner.
He's fantastic.
That's pretty select company.
He's really fantastic. And like you said, it's a little misleading, maybe a lot misleading. The teams, the opponents they have played so far, why the numbers aren't where they should be.
He was 7th last year in the country among quarterbacks in rushing yards. Against Memphis last year, 31 of 39, 357 yards, 5 touchdowns, and also ran for 100 yards.
He's scary to defend.
This year overall, completing 59% of his passes, 836 yards, just 2 touchdowns, has not thrown an interception. He is leading USF in rushing yards at 269 yards on 68 attempts and 3 touchdowns. Here's the thing, he's got 269 yards rushing, but remember, they've given up 21 sacks, and that comes off of rushing yardage, so that number could be a lot higher if it wasn't for all the sacks. If he's not able to go, then number 3, Bryce Archie would likely get the start. Archie, who is in his second year with South Florida after transferring from Coastal Carolina, has thrown 45 career passes, including 26 this year. So a big difference if Brown can't go and they have to go with Bryce Archie. At running back, they rotate 3 guys. Number 8, Kelly Joyner Jr. He is the starter. He has started all 5 games this year. He leads the running backs with 248 yards, and he has 4 touchdowns as well. Number 5, Naquan Wright. He was the starter for all 13 games last year. He leads the team in carries with 46. He's second in yards with 237 and has 2 touchdowns. Both of those guys had touchdowns against Memphis last year. And then you also have number 9, Tayron Keith, who has 28 carries on the year, 116 yards, but does have 3 touchdowns. So those 3 running backs have a combined 9 rushing touchdowns between them so far this year. Among the receivers, number 38 is the main guy to watch, Sean Atkins. Second team all-conference selection last year. He went over the 1,000-yard mark, becoming the first 1,000-yard receiver in USF history last year. He had 92 catches last year, also a USF season record. He had 9 catches and 89 yards and a touchdown against Memphis in the game last year. This year, 27 catches for 309 yards, has yet to score a touchdown. He needs 6 catches to set the USF career receptions record. So he is their favorite target by far, and he's really, really good. He's also a dynamic punt returner, so you don't want to let him get the ball in open space. Their number 2 target happens to be number 2, Abdur Rahman Yassin. He's a transfer from Purdue. Second in catches with 17 and yards with 223. And then number 7, Michael Brown Stevens. 11 catches, 133 yards, and a touchdown. No receiver on the team has more than 1 touchdown catch. As a matter of fact, Byron Brown, the quarterback, is actually tied for the team lead in touchdown catches. He's got 1.
Well, it's very similar to the Memphis Tigers with the receivers not catching touchdowns.
Yeah, Brown has touchdown passes, touchdown runs, and he has a touchdown catch so far this year. The Bulls' defensive numbers, they do not look good. They are 126th in the nation in pass defense, 116th in total defense, and 119th in scoring defense. Again, they've played Miami, they've played Alabama, they've played Tulane. You could forgive some of those numbers. They do have the ability to take the ball away, just like Memphis. 9 takeaways on the year. 5 fumble recoveries, which, like Memphis, top 10 in the country. And they are +4 in turnover margin. So turnovers could be key. Both of these teams are very good on the defensive side of taking the ball away. Both of these teams take care of the ball on the offensive side, and both have very good turnover margins for the year. Guys to watch defensively, top tackler is linebacker number 24, Mac Harris. 30 tackles, 4 tackles for loss. Also linebacker number 6, Jamie Petway. Their nickelback, number 13, Kawan Banks, transfer from South Carolina. He's their nickelback, but he leads the team in sacks and tackles for loss. So obviously they bring him blitzing. They're very aggressive in bringing him, but he is and he is a good one.
I'm sure Mario Anderson knows him very well.
Yes, they should. I'm sure they are very familiar with each other. Memphis, currently a 7.5-point favorite. The over-under set at 60.5 for this game. And again, it is still scheduled to be played as of now. Have we checked?
I haven't checked in the last 2 minutes. Subject to change.
2:30 Saturday afternoon down in Tampa. And there'll be the Tigers and South Florida. Tiger Football Report brought to you by Napa Cafe, Colonial Hardware, Binswanger Glass, and Central Barbecue.
Well, that was a good job in encapsulating what South Florida in this matchup is against Memphis and what they are. But for me, if they do play this game, 3 keys. 1 is Brown playing. If Brown's not playing, advantage Memphis. Number 2, if Brown is playing, that offensive line. Can Memphis get pressure on Brown? Now, when he gets out of pressure, he can run, and they got to be able to, almost like a Navy situation where you got to stay in your lane. You got to make sure you're not getting out of position, or that guy can go 80 yards with it. But certainly that offensive line has sieved this year. Can Memphis get pressure? And 3rd is what you mentioned as far as the turnovers are concerned. All right, we'll take a timeout. When we come back, we shift gears. We talk Major League Baseball postseason with Kerry Miller from Bleacher Report. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 at 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You know, sometimes I wish I had a gun.
Well, I'm armed, but before I bought one, I still went to Top Gun Academy to learn to protect myself without a gun.
How is that possible?
Top Gun's personal protection training. It's perfect if you want to protect yourself without firearms.
I don't know.
And it's perfect if you feel the need to carry a gun for self-defense, because the last thing you really want to do is shoot.
That is scary.
Not at Top Gun. It's very comfortable, and you learn to load, handle, and shoot a handgun safely. Protect yourself. Go to Top Gun Academy. They're at 2770 Witten Road.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses, any area, as is, it's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone, call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses.
Get ready, Memphis. It's our 35th annual Trucktober happening here at Sunrise Buick GMC at Wolf Chase. Big trucks, load trucks, four-wheel drive trucks, two-wheel drive trucks, crew cab trucks, extended cab trucks, diesel trucks, gas trucks. We got red trucks, black trucks, white trucks. We got trucks for big jobs. We got trucks for weekend warriors. We got trucks for great gas mileage and trucks for all your towing needs. Huge discounts, big rebates, special interest rates. We've got it all. Ford, slow pay, it's all okay at Sunrise. Home of the guaranteed approval. Come see us for all your car, truck, and SUV needs. Visit us at the good-looking building on Highway 64 in Bartlett. It's Truck Mud. We make it fun to buy a car.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
To reveal the full spectrum of its dazzling color.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 8:45 is the time. Coming up, hour number 3. Harold Grader will join us in studio for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl Inside College Football Hour. But now it's time to talk some baseball with Kerry Miller.
It's time to talk some baseball. Joining Greg and Eli is Kerry Miller from the Bleacher Report. Here's Kerry with Greg and Eli.
He is Kerry Miller. He joins us every Thursday during the Major League Baseball season. You can read all his great stuff at Bleacher Report. Follow him on Twitter at Carrance James. I sound like I'm fired up, Kerry, but really I am depressed after what the Phillies did. I told you, and you probably knew it as well, but you were nice and kind as you always are, but the Phillies bullpen is the worst. I know they did some good things during the regular season, as my buddies continue to remind me, but I know what's going to happen every single time. And you even had A.J. Przinsky on the broadcast talking about it mid-game, that the Phillies lost the series because the relievers could not hold leads. They could not go 1, 2, 3. They couldn't get out of innings without giving up runs. But I got to give a lot of credit to the Mets. What a turnaround for the Mets, and now they're in the National League Championship Series.
Yeah, I mean, blowing the Zach Wheeler game right off the bat was horrific. They really set the tone there. That was they only had one game where they scored, really. Right? I think the bullpen allowed more runs than the Phillies actually scored in 3 of the 4 games. That's not a recipe for victory. And, this is what it is. These short samples, these best of 3, best of 5 series, it's just ridiculous. I actually looked it up last night that, including that 1981, that weird year where they did the split seasons and, the East winner from the first half played the East winner from the second half, whatever. Before 2021, there had been 30 cases of postseason matchups between division rivals, and the better seeded team went 20-10 in those, right? You'd expect that. They win about 2 out of every 3. The last 3+ years since 2021, the better seeded team is now 3-8, and it's looking like the Guardians are going to lose to the Tigers. The Dodgers could still lose to the Padres, in which case it would be 3-10. It's just the worm has turned where the underdog wins in these division rivals.
It's the whole world. The baseball now, posting we had 2 teams yesterday do bullpen games. It's so strange the stuff that happens now in the postseason with as you said, the way it's come as far as higher seeded teams, lower seeded teams, plus these bullpen games. It's a little bizarre.
Not only did 2 teams have bullpen games, those 2 teams pitched shutouts.
Yes.
Both of them didn't allow a single run. It's insane. And that juxtaposed with Corbin Burns goes into the 9th inning, allows 1 run, and takes a loss for the Orioles in the start of the playoffs. It's just there's no way to predict what's going to happen. I'm still tasked with I'm going to have to write the ALCS and NLCS preview and make picks and get raked over the coals for it, and nobody knows what's going to happen.
I mean, the Padres are suddenly they got a 2-1 lead. They got Dylan Cease versus a bullpen game. And they get killed. It's just at home. Hello, baseball.
At home.
Yep, it just makes no sense.
No. Kerry Miller joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. I think momentum has a lot to do with things. The Mets were playing very good baseball down the stretch. The Phillies were not. Now, we'll see what happens with the Tigers and the Guardians, but the Tigers were playing tremendously good baseball down the stretch. I'm not so sure about Cleveland. I wasn't really paying attention. Padres were red hot. They still got a chance, right? They got to win in L.A. tomorrow, but they got a chance. So there's something to say also about teams that are playing really well at the end of the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't know. We don't have enough data yet after 3 years for the rest versus rust debate with all these. The 2 seed has yet to beat the 6 seed in the NLDS. I think the 2 seed only won. I don't know if that's actually won in the AL either. If the Yankees win, that would be if the Guardians win, that would be the first time. It's for whatever reason, whoever wins the wild card is somehow going on to win the DS. It's getting crazy, but yeah, that's how it's always been, right? Whoever's hottest in September, it's all about getting hot at the right time. You don't want to be like the Phillies were, like even at the time. I mean, certainly all the Phillies fans were like, well, let's save something for the end of the season, right? When they were just incredible for the first 3 months. Like that, who cares if you win the first half? If you just sneak in and you're on fire, that's all that matters. We're seeing that with the Mets and the Tigers.
All right, so the Dodgers doing what they did last night. That series now even at 2. Mookie Betts is real hot. Shohei got an RBI single. I know he hasn't had his best baseball or played his best baseball, but does have a home run in the series. Had the RBI single last night. Bats came alive for L.A. What do you expect in Game 5, and what do you expect the matchup to be on the mound?
Yeah, I don't know if they've even announced it. I assume it's Yamamoto and Darvish, which would be incredible.
Yeah,
right?
Darvish definitely. I'm looking at it now. Darvish is going for San Diego. Dodgers still undecided.
Yeah, but man, that'll be a 9 a.m. game in Asia for Yamamoto, Darvish, Ohtani. Well, what would the ratings be for that?
I don't know. There'll be a few people in Japan watching that game, I think.
Yeah, but it should be great. I mean, it's going to be all hands on deck, right? Whether it's Yamamoto or Flaherty, I mean, maybe they both go 4 innings for the Dodgers. I don't know if that's going to be their plan, but it should be an incredible game in what has been an incredible series. I think they're separated by 1 run, 1 hit, 1 home run each through 4 games. So at least we're getting 1 Game 5. I don't know if either the Royals or the Guardians are going to be up for giving us another one today.
What's the Freeman status?
Yeah, I mean, if you get scratched right before a do-or-die game, you're probably not feeling great. I mean, he was barely able to move in Game 3, so I'd be surprised if he's playing. Probably, I would guess he's available as a pinch hitter, but I doubt he starts. We'll see.
If the Tigers were advanced to the World Series, would they be like the least likely World Series team ever?
I mean, certainly from where they were 2 months ago, right? They had a Baseball Reference's playoff odds on August 10th. They had a 0.5% chance of making the postseason. So if you put in a $100 bet on them to win the World Series, then you're probably about to be a millionaire. I don't know what it's worth. I think they were 10,000 to 1 at that point. Plus 10,000, not 10,000 to 1. But yeah, and just the way that they're doing it with really only 1 starting pitcher, right? They've already done, I believe, 3 bullpen games, twice with Montero starting, and he only pitched 6 pitches yesterday, and he was their, number 2 starter for a while. After they traded away Flaherty and both Olsen and Casey Mize were on the IL, like Montero was going after Skubal, and he pitched 6 pitches yesterday, and then they just went full bullpen game. So it's just it's not a full season sustainable strategy, but they've somehow, never walk away from a table when you're on a heater.
Right.
That's what A.J. Hinch has been doing for 2 months.
That's a great point. Now, Skubal's ready for Game 5 if necessary, but today, who's going? Is it a bullpen session today?
I actually have not looked.
They're undecided.
It says undecided. So Bybee against, I don't know. I would assume Casey Mize. I don't know. But it's working,
Morris,
right? They've won 2 of their 3 bullpen games. They might as well go for it.
Blackjack Morris, Mickey Lolich, is he available?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the question is, do you have enough bullpen arms ready after how many of these can you do? Like those guys, it's just It's absolutely amazing.
How about the fact that the 3 games have been all shutouts?
All 3 of Detroit's games.
The Cleveland-Detroit series, right? Has been all 3 shutouts.
Yep.
I mean, the game was fairly close yesterday, 3-0, but they've all been shutouts. So it's an very odd series. And then, of course, the Yankees get the late run on the home run from Giancarlo Stanton, grab a 3-2 win over the Royals. That has been a very tight series, been a well-played series. Yankees are getting nothing from Aaron Judge, yet they have a chance to close it out today in Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, for the Royals to drop that game with Lugo pitching yesterday, that really felt like probably the end of it. It's going to be hard to win 2 now. I mean, I know they've got is it Waka today and probably Ragan's on for Game 5 if they need it, but it's going to be tough at some point. Either Soto or Judge is going to homer, right? Can't keep those guys down forever. But
and they got to face Cole today. They got to face Cole.
That's the dream for ALCS ratings, though, right? Nobody wanted to watch Royals Tigers. Got to get the Yankees in there.
Yeah, Waka versus Cole doesn't look like a great matchup for the Royals on paper, which means the Royals will probably win 8-0.
Yeah, they'll score 5 first-inning runs off of Garrett Cole somehow.
Yeah, he won't get out of the first. They'll pitch a shot. Who knows at this point?
So think about this, though. As we get closer to the World Series, it may work out for Major League Baseball because, as we just talked about, look at the major markets that are still represented. If L.A. can get it done against San Diego, and the Mets are already in, L.A. versus New York, and then if the Yankees get in, the Yankees in the American League Championship Series, Detroit, if they win, it's not a small city. So that's Major League Baseball. I guess that's their hope, is to have these big major markets represented in the Championship Series and then eventually in the World Series.
Yeah, we could still get Judge Ohtani. We could still end up with Cleveland, San Diego. We'll see which way it decides to go. It could be one of the best rated World Series, certainly internationally of all time, if Ohtani gets in, or it could be just a disaster. There are a lot of very intriguing World Series matchups in play, most of which involve the Yankees, though. We'll see what happens.
I mean, I know that obviously the injuries to the pitching staff, but if the Dodgers, after spending $1 billion in the offseason, lose in the division series, like, what do they do next?
And if they lose to a team that shed like $100 million in payroll last offseason, the Padres. So the injury thing is what they'll be able to at least point to when they inevitably would not remove Dave Roberts as the manager, because as much as we talk about it every year, both with Roberts and Boone, at least we're still talking about the Yankees and Dodgers usually into early October every year. I mean, playoff baseball is just a roll of the dice, but you got to at least be able to get there, and that's what they did with their $1 billion, and now you hope for the best.
Yeah, and then you have San Diego, who certainly has spent some money, still in the mix, and the Phillies obviously spent a lot of money to lose to the Mets, who spent a lot of money as well. So other than Detroit and Kansas City, right? Cleveland, I'm not sure what their payroll is. I don't think it's that much, but the big boys are still in there or have just been eliminated.
Yeah, those $350 million underdog, spunky New York Mets. Sick of hearing that narrative. I mean, it is crazy what they've been able to do, but apparently if you're just terrible for 2 months while paying the most of any team, now you're an underdog.
Right. Well, they'll equate it to the Miracle Mets. No, these aren't the Miracle Mets, man. These are the high-priced, high-dollared, high-salaried New York Metropolitans.
And they looked out with the draw. They got to play the Brewers, and if you beat the Brewers, you automatically go to the World Series.
Yeah, what is that again?
Yeah.
What's that?
It's in the history of the
10
playoffs.
straight or something.
If the Brewers' playoff history, the team that has beaten them has gone to the World Series.
That is so crazy, and it's still a possibility.
Don't always win it,
again.
but they've always advanced to the World Series. Everybody that's ever beaten the Brewers.
Wow. So, Kerry, before we let you go, your picks for the rest of these divisional series, what do you think happens?
I had Dodgers and Yankees before the playoffs started, so I'll stick with that. And I believe last week I said I'd take the Tigers over the Guardians. I'll stick with that. They'll probably have 17 bullpen arms combined for a shutout today.
Well, make sure to keep up with Major League Baseball by following Kerry Miller, by also subscribing to Bleacher Report, and check out all his great stories there. Follow him on Twitter at Carrance James. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
Sounds good. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Kerry.
In fact, the Tigers are going to start throwing out like position players, and they'll pitch shutout innings. So just throw him in there. Who cares?
It's pretty amazing. It was fun, though, watching that game. I had not watched the Tigers all year long, and watched them yesterday play Cleveland with Ramirez and the two Nailers. And, it's not exactly star-studded, but they got some bombers on that Cleveland team. They got a rookie head coach, or manager, rather, in Vogt. But I was not real familiar with Detroit. And to watch some of those guys and the fans just getting into it in Detroit, I got some friends that are Tigers fans. I loved it. I thought it was great. All right, we'll take a timeout. When we come back, hour number 3 of the program. It's the AutoZone Liberty Bowl Inside College Football Hour. We'll be joined by Harold Grader. You're tuned into Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles, ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Memphis, it's official. Crab King Seafood is where it's at. For the most flavored seafood and the biggest plates, run to a Crab King's near you. Visit the Bartlett Cordova location at 7140 Stage Road. The price, the portions, the service is why Crab King's is #1. So don't be disappointed in seafood. Make the right choice the first time and every time. Make it Crab Kings. Crab Kings have only locally grown catfish. Come and devour tasty snow crabs, king crab, shrimp, salmon, catfish, calamari, and so much more. Enjoy Memphis's best tasting pasta with your choice of toppings. Visit the Bartlett Cordova location at 7140 Stage Road. Crab Kings is open Wednesday through Sunday. Enjoy 50% off lunch portions and dollar fountain drinks. The #1 name in Cajun seafood is Crab King Seafood, a Memphis favorite. Crab King, 7140 Stage Road. Kings with the Z.
They're taking care of business in Memphis, right on the river, with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their product. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called Godhopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in town Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Still wrapping up this wreck. It's been out here for a while. 40 eastbound at US 64. It's just mostly rubbernecking delays we've had to deal with for a couple of hours out here going eastbound. There's still some volume westbound on I-40 as you come past Germantown Parkway, working your way up to Sycamore View Road. Weimer's Jewelry serving the Memphis area now for over 40 years, no matter what the occasion is. It's coming up. Check with them first. Shop local, save a lot of money at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis with Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus. Weekday afternoons from 3 to 6. Welcome back to Sports 56 Mornings. This hour is brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. It's time now for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl Inside College Football Hour. Here are your hosts, Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy,
Welcome back, everybody. 9:04 the time. Hour number 3 here on Sports 56 Mornings. This Thursday, October 10th, 2024. And every Thursday during the football season, Hour 3 becomes the AutoZone Liberty Bowl Inside College Football Hour. Harold Grader will join us in just a moment, while our world-famous Pick 6 a little bit later on, where one of you will go up against one of us for some delicious Central barbecue. Currently 61 degrees. It will get up to 83 today under sunshiny skies. Then tonight, 54 degrees for an overnight low. Jenkins Floors and More, third hour sponsor of Sports 56 Mornings. If you're a do-it-yourself type of person, this is the place to go. But also if you're a contractor, right? And you're going to do work for somebody else, because you're going to save a lot of money. They sell their flooring, their carpeting, everything that they offer wholesale. Skip the middleman, save you lots of money in the process. They're located at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake, Mississippi. They also have stores in Cleveland, Mississippi, and in Little Rock. Give them a call at 662-469-9350. They're open Monday through Saturday. They will come to you, give you a free estimate. So if you got a job you need done, they'll do it, and they'll have it done in 2 weeks. That's their promise to you. They got nothing but the best: hardwoods by Porter Craft, carpeting from Southern Luxury Carpet, ceramic and porcelain tiles, backsplashes for your kitchen and bathrooms, and much, much more. Jenkins Floors and More. Say hello to Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins. Tell me you heard it here on Sports 56 Mornings, 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake, or call them at 662-469-9350. One programming note: John Harden, Sports 56 Happy Hour, will be on location from 11 to 1 at the Hilton Garden in Germantown, where today, Mr. Grader, the announcement will be taking place as to who the head coaches will be for the annual AutoZone Liberty Bowl High School All-Star Football game.
Yes, sir. We're off and running, and announcement day for the All-Star game, it kind of gets us rolling towards bowl season. This is year 23 for the All-Star game,
wow.
but only the 22nd game because we didn't play in the COVID year.
Mm-hmm.
So we're excited about the coaches we're going to be announcing today at noon. I'll just share that both of their teams are having excellent seasons, and these are seasoned coaches. They both have served as assistant coaches in the All-Star game, which is one of the prerequisites for being selected to be the actual head coach. So we're excited about it, and we're looking forward to announcing those gentlemen coming up at lunchtime today.
Has there ever been a repeat head coach?
No.
Wow, that's pretty good.
No.
So everybody's been a head coach once they've been an assistant coach.
Yep.
That's great.
But you could always come back and be an assistant coach.
That's true.
And I think we've had some guys do that who just enjoy being around that environment and wanting to help the kids and be a part of it. So we have had coaches, and I think, as a matter of fact, thinking back on who the assistant coaches are this year, I think a couple of them have been head coaches and have come back to be assistant coaches. It's all about helping the kids and putting the spotlight on the 80-plus kids that will be showcasing in the All-Star game.
Absolutely. It's a great event. I can't believe it's been 20-something years. Anyway, football, before we talk this weekend, college football, which really the week started on Tuesday. There was a game Tuesday. There's a game last night. There's 3 games tonight. Last weekend, you happened to be in Nash Vegas.
Yes.
Happened to be.
I was there.
At Vandy and Alabama. What was that like?
It was wild. Had my ticket to the game, and as a lot of folks have said or noted, a overwhelming Alabama crowd, but they didn't matter.
Just how much, like, percentage-wise, would you say was Alabama?
The best. I would say, they announced a sellout of like 28,000 because they have construction going on as well. The far side of the field, from where I was sitting, which was the press box side of the field, it was 3/4 Alabama on the far side, and I really couldn't get a gauge on where I was sitting on that side. But that's quote unquote the Vanderbilt side. So, gosh, 60-70% perhaps
out of 28,000. So that's there's not very many Vanderbilt fans there.
Not a lot of folks wearing black and gold, but every dadgum one of them was on that field when it was over. Yeah, and I had been to I want to say I've only been to one and maybe two games where it's resulted in a field rush. I remember being at Iowa State in the snow when they won a big game and they had a field rush. And
how about Tennessee Memphis? Were you at that game?
I was working.
You were anchoring?
I was anchoring, so I was at 1960 Union watching it on TV. The Tennessee Ole Miss game in Knoxville. Was that a field rush or was it just a melee at the end of the game a couple of years ago? The whole where
they threw stuff at Lane.
They threw stuff at Lane.
I don't think it
was a field rush.
Were you at the Ole Miss Alabama game when Ole Miss beat them?
I don't think I was.
I like that field rush or a melee.
I know one of my sons.
That was just an attack on Lane Kiffin.
Who was a student at Ole Miss for a time, was a part of a field rush at Ole Miss. Maybe LSU, maybe. I don't know.
BYU Memphis was a melee. That would be a melee.
But Saturday was wild, and in those last 4 or 5 minutes, you sensed it. You knew it was going to happen, so you saw the security, getting ready, and it's like, and I don't know what their protocols are.
What are they going to do?
What the professionals do. For me as a person who puts on a football event, number one is getting the other team off the field safely. And obviously there were some things going on at the end of the game, a lot of emotion there. But as far as the fans that are jubilating, as you might say, let them have it. Don't try to stop them. Maybe protect the goalpost.
The good thing is when it's only a few thousand.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot easier than what you dealt with like at Arkansas.
Yeah, it was more of an issue at Arkansas.
Where you got a lot more people that were trying to get down there.
Yeah,
and a little easier access to it as well.
Yes. But they had a big time in Nashville. Everybody's seen the video, taking the goalpost down from West End all the way down Broadway to the river.
Did you go down to Broadway?
No.
Okay.
No.
I swore I saw you carrying that goalpost.
I know. He was hanging off it, I think.
Harold was sitting on the goalpost. They were carrying him like the king.
No, they were heading east. I was headed west. I was headed towards back to Memphis. But it was, those things are fun. And, Clark Lee's such a good guy, doing a good job over there. They're pouring money into the program, into the facilities there, which is great to see. And just so happy for him and his football team and the university. And, they are, I'm sure, again, this may be repetitive, but they are seizing the moment. They're selling pieces of that goalpost and
for a good price.
For a good price.
Sold it out, if I'm not mistaken.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I think they sold it out.
I wouldn't doubt it.
All right, so
that's great. That's all being very creative and impacting the program.
It's so great to see those type of things. Okay, so Vanderbilt's got how many wins now? 3?
3.
Okay, they got Ball State this weekend. No.
They got Kentucky this weekend.
Kentucky this weekend on the road. Then they have Ball State. So Ball State, you figure, is a win. That's 4. I'm just thinking if they can get to 6, could they be a possibility for your game?
Well, could be. Could be.
I mean, they're fun. Pavia is fun at quarterback.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just thinking, can they get to 6?
He's tough to bring down.
At what? Can they get to 6?
And so here's here's Vandy's remaining schedule. At Kentucky this week, Ball State, as you mentioned, Texas, at Auburn, and who knows what the state of Auburn is going to be in by another 3 weeks or so.
Pavia's won at Auburn before.
He sure has. And I was at that game, as a matter of fact.
That's easy for him.
So they're at Auburn. Then the last 3 are South Carolina, at LSU, Tennessee. So
South Carolina's at home?
South Carolina is home. Tennessee is home, quote unquote, in Nashville.
It's possible.
It's possible. It's possible.
See, they lost that damn Georgia State game, which is still amazing
Exactly.
when you think about it.
Exactly. That one might come back to bite them.
So you're in the stadium, like, when did you really think, like, okay, this could happen? Like, at halftime, I'm thinking, okay, Alabama's going to kill them in the second half. Like, when did you, like, okay, this legitimately could happen?
You know, I'm trying to remember
what was kind of the feeling in the
was
stadium as far as that
and
goes?
what the play was. Maybe the touchdown. Maybe it was the fourth. There was a fourth down touchdown. The fourth down touchdown, because it was a pass over the middle, which was similar, if not the same play that Georgia had run the previous week against Alabama. When Georgia took the lead against Alabama, it was a play down the middle, pass down the middle, and it looked very similar. Now, I haven't gone back and looked at the two plays side by side, but similar, down the middle, guy wide open. And when that happened in the Vandy game last week, I thought, okay, everything's going Vandy's way. Not game over, but close to being game over. Yeah.
So what do you think now? Obviously, the reaction from Bama fans is stunned, but Kalen DeBoer, they just picked up that huge win over Georgia.
Yeah.
Seamlessly, he steps into big shoes of Nick Saban after his retirement, comes in Alabama, and then they lose to Vanderbilt. I mean, what's got to be going through his mind? Back-to-back weeks, you beat Georgia, lose to Vanderbilt.
Well, I think everyone saw in the second half of that Georgia game for Alabama defensive problems. Those issues continued against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt seized upon that. And again, I'll tell you, it wasn't Alabama losing that game. Vanderbilt won that game.
Yes.
Well, the last
right?
drive to put it away.
Yeah.
Like, Alabama had a lot of chances to stop them and just couldn't do it.
They couldn't get off the field on third down, Alabama. And again, and what was it, like 12 of 19 or some crazy number on third down conversions for Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it may have been that last drive where, like, maybe 3 times they had a third down play and they kept moving the chains and eating the clock and possessing the ball. Again, impressive performance by Vanderbilt, and all the credit goes to them. Issues at Alabama, we shall see what we shall see. Now, did they lose everything that they were playing for or have been playing for in Tuscaloosa? Those things are still there, but I'm not sure you can afford another one. 2 may be the max. We'll see, because it depends on who are the losses with. Who are your wins with.
That's the key. Who are the losses to? It's Vanderbilt.
It's not a good look right now. And it's Parents Weekend at Alabama this week. I'll be down there on Saturday in South Carolina, and we'll see if they have fixed some things, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
It's just crazy in the SEC, because you'd think just a couple weeks back, like, all these teams, and you're like, they're all the top 6 in the country, and now Ole Miss takes a loss.
Yeah.
Georgia took a loss. Alabama takes a loss. Tennessee takes a loss. So now they're all, it's like, okay, now we've taken up that margin for error, and there's still some matchups amongst those teams that are going to be, we know Tennessee's playing Alabama. One of those got 2 losses. Obviously, Georgia still has Ole Miss and Texas. I mean, there's still, there's a lot of these teams are going to end up with 2 losses at least.
Yeah. And that will go, Eli, to the whole strength of schedule. We're the SEC. Our losses are against prominent teams within our league.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 losses in our league are an equivalent to 2 losses in some other league. So we'll see how that plays out. Before the game, I was visiting with my friend Colt Kubelik, who was doing the color for the game. Was it SEC Network last week?
I think so.
But when I was talking to him pregame, I said, how many SEC teams make the playoff? At that point, he said 5. And I said, why 5 versus 4, which is most people are thinking 4.
I think 4.
He said 5, but again, this is pregame. He said because of what the other conferences are not doing as far as with the big wins and things like that. Now, when you have this scenario where you're top teams and potential and expected playoff teams are taking it on the chin in games you didn't expect them to. Does that change? So I'm still thinking the SEC gets 4 into the playoff. But again, the results of last weekend, it certainly tightened up things when you start looking at teams' potential for making the playoffs.
What do you think about the meetings that are taking place in Nashville with SEC and Big Ten officials? We had the second super conference proposal that came out a couple of days ago. There's already been the story that the SEC and the Big Ten are going to demand a minimum of 4 each in the playoff. And then there's always the talk about the breakaway.
Right.
So what do you think they're talking about here? It's just speculation, but what do you think?
It'll be interesting to see what comes out today or what reporting. I know y'all mentioned Ross Dellinger.
Yes.
On the scene in Nashville.
On the scene.
He's the best. He really is good on that playoff beat.
It's like the Jim Cantori of college football. He's right there where it's all happening.
Except he doesn't wear
the big
high boots.
Yes.
Obviously, the big issue that's being talked about is the playoff and the automatics, and is it a case of the SEC and the Big Ten just telling the other conferences, we've got all the power, we have control, and by golly, this is just the way it's going to be,
Sorry about your luck.
Who has the goal?
Now, but we're us and you're you, and this is how things go.
And I saw some quotes from Brett Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12, that was saying you got to earn it. Now, can the other conferences impact any of that, or is it just the two big guys going to just bully their way through? Say, this is what we're doing.
Did you see?
And you don't have a voice, so we'll see how that plays out.
Did you see in the Dellinger story about the Project Rudy? Did you read that story?
I did not see that.
Oh, you need to see that, Harold.
The Project Rudy is this capital investment group that's putting together this super conference plan. But within that story, he talked about the fact that there was this letter published in the Chronicle of Higher Education or whatever that was from 2 university presidents basically urging other presidents to prevent the Big Ten and SEC from breaking off. But he said he got a copy of the original letter, which was signed by 6 presidents, and 4 of them had taken their name off before it got published. 2 of the presidents, there was one from the SEC and one from the Big Ten, who were writing part of a letter urging their presidents to stop the Big Ten and SEC from breaking off.
Wow. You're right. I need to read that. When did that come? Was that this week?
Yeah, that was
a couple of days ago.
Tuesday, I think.
They're talking about, what did they say, $7 billion that could be infused in this?
They're talking about, I think, $9 billion.
$9 billion.
This investment group is what they're. Basically, they have a slide. It has been presented to. They said 3 of the commissioners have seen it. Some ADs that they have met with and talked to, and Dellinger got their slide presentation basically of what their whole thing is. But theirs is a 70-team deal. They're trying to bring all of the TV contracts under one big umbrella. They would keep the conferences in place, but they would all go kind of under one big umbrella. There's a tier system for how much money you're going to get paid out of that, with relegation possibly within the tier system. So you could fall from tier 1 to tier 2 and move up for whatever. There were 3 tiers. It's an interesting thing. There's a lot of money, but again, the SEC and the Big Ten think they can make all that money on their own. There's no need to bring in outside people to do it for them.
But either way, and we were talking to Jerry Palm about this, and he agreed that there's going to be a big change, because think about this. Even if they say no to that offer, as Eli said, they feel they can make as much money. Why not do it between 40 teams as opposed to 70 teams? But that means that if they're going to say no to that much money, then they're going to go do it on their own. They're not going to stay status quo. Why would they stay status quo and make – what do they make now? The league, the SEC brings in $60 million a team?
Well, this year's the first year of the new TV deal, so we'll don't.
Well,
but they're projected in the next couple of years to be making close to $100 million.
Okay, but they were talking about $125 million. And if they say no to that, he's not going to leave money on the table, Sankey and I'm sure Petito, but if you're doing it yourself and you think you can make that money, they're going to do it. So Jerry's like, yeah, it's going to happen, that there's going to be some kind of, major change to college football.
It also feels like within the SEC and Big Ten, even if they do end up doing their own thing, the tier system thing, I think, probably comes into play in these conferences. Like, I don't think there's no way I see. Sorry, Vanderbilt, but I don't see Vanderbilt continuing to make the same amount of money as Alabama and Georgia and these others.
Right.
And sorry, Mississippi State and like it's just they're just not going to. They're going to
They'll make great money, but it won't be as much.
Yeah, they're going to make great money, but like I can't see where you go. Yeah, no, we're all going to be equal. These others are going to say, wait a second, this doesn't make sense. We're the teams that are on all of the prime TV spots. The things that the TV are paying for are us, not them. Why do they get the same amount of money as we do?
I understand that completely, but think about that. If they had now they don't have that type of tier system in professional sports, do they? Like the Cowboys don't make more money than the Jaguars from a TV contract, right? No. It's all split equal because the equality across the board. That's the only thing that would be going against that is we want it equal. We're all equal, but the way Sankey operates, I could easily see what Eli says, that, no, you got to give Alabama and Georgia more money than Vanderbilt and Mississippi State. But in professional sports, it's because you could easily, hey, we're the Cowboys. We should make this amount of money. But you don't see that. We're the Yankees. We make this amount of money. They have their own deals, obviously.
In baseball, you got local TV deals.
Yeah, you got your local TV deals, but I'm talking about the national.
You did.
I'm talking about the national contracts.
The whole Ballage thing.
Oh, well, the Yankees still do it. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
They're the ones that are good. Yeah. They're making way more than others.
It may to divert down another path, but
all right. We'll come back. Yeah. We'll do our pick six later on. We'll get your thoughts on this Memphis, South Florida. Will it happen? Will it not happen? Game on Saturday. Already moved one day. But we're going to need a participant for this week's Pick Six.
Caller number 3, 360-8255, 360-8255. The Sissy's Log Cabin listener line. Caller number 3 will get a chance to win $25 from Central Barbecue, along with a beautiful, stylish AutoZone Liberty Bowl t-shirt.
And the satisfaction of having defeated one of us.
So all you got to do is be caller number 3 at 360-8255 for a chance to play. Well, with all the games going on, with the Major League Baseball playoffs, college football, of course, NFL tonight, all kinds of stuff going on. Grizzlies in action tonight as well in the preseason game. You can see it all at East Coast Wings and Grill. They got plenty of TVs to watch all of the action while enjoying great food. 60 different flavors of wings, plus their great burgers and other sandwiches, flatbreads, all kinds of stuff. Great appetizers, whatever it is you're looking for. They're going to have something for you at East Coast Wings and Grill, plus 24 draft beers, plenty of other beers and drinks for you. Everything you need while enjoying the games and enjoying the fun at East Coast Wings and Grill. Located in Bartlett, just off Highway 64, right between Lowe's and Walmart. East Coast Wings and Grill.
We do have our caller, our number 3 caller, to participate in the Pick Six. So if you weren't able to get in this week, better luck next week when we do it again. You're listening to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli and the AutoZone Liberty Bowl Inside College Football Hour right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's football season and nothing goes better with Game Time Eats than chicken wings. It's a tradition like no other, but not just any wings, it's the seasoning that makes the chicken wing. And nobody does it better than the Crazy Coop at 7199 Stage Road west of Appling and soon coming to downtown Memphis. Over 32 mouth-watering secret sauces and counting, like the jalapeno cheddar and the barbecue bacon bourbon. And don't bother asking them for the secret recipes. No matter how large your tailgating is or the family at home, kick off your game day with Crazy Coop party packs plus special bulk prices. Visit crazycoopstage.com to customize your wings and sauces. Whole wings, boneless wings. Try the Crazy Hot Suicide if you dare. Add Parmesan fries and fried dill pickles. And don't forget the carrots and celery sticks. For the full menu, which includes juicy burgers, catfish fillets, chicken nuggies, and crazy kid meals, go to crazycoopstage.com. That's crazycoopstage.com. You'd be crazy not to visit the Coop.
I'm Chevy Kim, Sheriff Floyd Monk. If you're really looking for a career that provides a source of income, then you come to the Deputy Sheriff or a Correctional Unit. It's your chance to make a difference. difference.
How's Wingstop sound? Crispy, juicy, classic wings. Made to order, cooked to perfection. And sauced and tossed in those 11 soul-satisfying flavors. Paired with hand-cut seasoned fries, house-made honey mustard, blue cheese, or signature Wingstop ranch. And of course, spicy Cajun fried corn. I think you've heard enough. Get your flavor delivered at Wingstop.com.
Most shoppers today fall into one of two categories. You could be like Dave, who settles for nothing but the finest.
I drive only European luxury sedans, wear the finest Italian leather shoes. My shirts are custom made, and I expect white glove service from those I do business with. I appreciate world-class brands, and at this point in my life, I just don't want to compromise on quality, no matter what I buy.
Or you might be like Steve, whose goal is to always get the best deal.
I'm frugal. I'm all about finding value. I want the best price, and I don't mind going out of my way to get it. Work hard for my money, but I just want to make sure when I buy something, I can have confidence in knowing I'm not overpaying for it. It's not being cheap, it's being smart.
You never see these two guys in the same store, except for one.
That's why I shop at Genesis Diamonds.
Genesis Diamonds is that rare shopping experience where you can have it all. Uncompromising luxury and unbeatable value. Exceptional service and the guaranteed best price in America. A premium experience and a smart purchase. This is where the best of all worlds come together. Genesis Diamonds. Memphis' direct diamond and more. And power is extended.
Sports 56 morning. This hour is brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Now, more of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl inside college football hour. Here are your hosts, Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and
Welcome back, everybody. 9:30 is the time. Time for our weekly Pick Six. Last week, it was Super Mario going up against Eli, and down went Eli as Mario went 5-2. Eli was 4-3. Harold,
yes,
top of the Delta Pledge class at 4-2.
How about that?
And I was 4-3 as well. So through 6 weeks, the callers are hammering us. They're 5-1 collectively versus us. They are 2-0 versus you. They are 2-1 versus me. They are 1-0 versus Eli. As far as the numbers, the callers are 28-11-1 against the spread. You're going to win a lot of money at 28-11-1 against the spread. Eli 24-16-1. Harold 22-16-1. So Eli 24-16-1. Harold 22-16-1. And I'm 22-17-1. All very respectable. We're all winning money if we're making equal bets on all those games. Again, we play it against the spread. And it is time for week number 7. And let me bring on lucky caller number 3. It's Dan. Dan, welcome to the show.
Hello, how you doing?
Doing fantastic. Hope you're doing well. Dan, first question is, who are you going to go up against?
I think I'll go up against Harold.
All right.
Dan, enjoy the barbecue. And also, Mario, I know you're listening. Congratulations. Enjoy the barbecue and the T-shirt.
And the T-shirt.
And the T-shirt.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I get a T-shirt, too?
Oh, yes. A stylish AutoZone Liberty Bowl T-shirt.
Absolutely. All right. So Dan versus Harold, week 7, pick 6. Let's begin. We start with what used to be called the Red River Shootout. It's now the Red River Rivalry in Dallas. Texas versus Oklahoma. Now SEC members, which sounds weird. Oklahoma gets 14 points. It's always customary to begin with Mr. Grader. Harold?
Yeah, it's Texas State Fair time.
It is.
Get the corny dogs. Now, they don't have Pronto Pups. They're corn dogs. They call them corny dogs over there.
What's the big guy's name?
Big Tex.
Big Tex.
It's all the same.
Big Tex.
Don't you like the Big Tex, the Danish?
The cinnamon roll.
Yeah.
The corn dog thing, it's all the same.
Oh, yeah. No, it's not.
Corn dog.
Eli.
Don't start with me.
Danny Andrini, the king of the Pronto Pup, Christian Brothers graduate, fine gentleman. He will fight to the death, and I'll defend him.
Dan, you see how they go off on tangents here?
A Pronto Pup is not a corn dog.
Okay. All right. What do you think?
Anyway.
We'll agree to disagree.
Right, Dan?
Oklahoma plus 14.
That's right. I agree.
Oh, there we go.
How long have you lived in Memphis?
20-some years.
I'm from Chicago, 45 years.
That's it.
Okay.
So we got two Chicagoans here. All right.
Texas, Oklahoma.
Yes, picks. It's a pick 6. We do it each week.
What do I have in my notes here? Yours is back, right? Quarterback for Texas. Both coming off wins. Oklahoma off an open week to prepare for that fierce, top-ranked Texas football team. Oklahoma won last year.
Mm-hmm.
None of that matters. Texas.
All right.
Yep.
Eli?
What Lee Corso there? It was like a Lee Corso.
There's a lot of weird stuff that will go on in this game. Obviously, you got a big time rivalry. Like this, you could always see weird, like Oklahoma last year with that win. There's weird stuff going on in the SEC right now. We just said over the last few weeks, all of these top teams have taken a loss: Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, Tennessee. I don't know if Texas loses, but I'm taking 14 points with Oklahoma.
So Venables getting that win last year. I'm not a big fan of Venables, but the fact that they did get the win last year, yours will be a little rusty getting back in there. I don't think so. He wasn't out for that long. But I'm with Eli. Oklahoma held Tennessee to 25. They have defense. What did you say when you were doing the Tiger football report as far as Oklahoma forcing fumbles? Or
they have the most fumble recoveries in the country.
They're the only team that's
recovered more than the Tigers.
So if they could turn over Texas, they certainly can hang. You're getting 14. Give me 14 in Oklahoma. Dan?
Oklahoma in the point.
All right, so right off the bat, Dan and HG disagree on the Red River rivalry. Florida, which we know has a history of beating Tennessee, although the last time in Knoxville they didn't beat them, they get 15.5 on the hill. Eli?
Again, this kind of goes back to, has Tennessee been exposed offensively, or what do you kind of take out of these last 2 weeks? Now is this last week the real eye-opener, and they bounce back and put up a statement here against Florida? So Ole Miss bounced back with a big win against South Carolina. I think Tennessee relies on the running game here. Sampson has a big game. I'm going to take Tennessee to just cover that 15.5.
I like Billy Napier. I hope it works out at Florida. Got a big win last week. Good defensive effort against UCF. But I still think Tennessee is one of the better teams in the country, and I don't think that loss to Arkansas will derail them. I think Nico will find his groove. Sounds like a movie. Tennessee, minus the 15.5 at home. Dan?
Tennessee.
Harold?
Yep, Tennessee's hacked off. Florida's going to pay for it. Give me the Vols.
All right, clean sweep for the Vols.
What's the quarterback's name at Tennessee again?
Iamaleava.
Walla Walla Bing Bang or something like that?
Iamaleava.
Only thing he'll do is he'll run out of the back of the end zone this time, not out of bounds the other way.
Yeah, I hope he's learned to throw the football in the week of practice they've had since the game. Ohio State -3 at Oregon. This is number 2 versus number 3. This is a huge game with national implications. I pick first. Look, I know it's at Oregon. They have the ability to score. Ohio State has a good defense, a really good offense. I guess I'm a Will Howard believer. Ohio State goes out to Oregon and wins the game. They won't run away with it, but I think they can win this game by 10 points. I'm taking Ohio State -3. Dan?
I take Ohio State.
Harold?
I'm taking Oregon and the points.
Oregon and the 3?
Yep.
Eli?
I'm with you, HG. Oregon wins this one. Ohio State wins the championship game rematch. I'm taking Oregon.
Wow. So a split right there between Ohio State and Oregon. And again, a game that HG and Dan differ. Ole Miss. They bounce back at South Carolina. They got another big one on the Bayou at LSU. Ole Miss -3. Dan, you pick first.
I think I'll take LSU on this one.
Okay. Harold?
Well, they both have losses, right? Within the both have losses. This is from the playoff perspective. Obviously, Ole Miss lost to Kentucky. LSU lost to USC. Opening week, right? Mm-hmm. That was the Vegas game. So you put it in the context of the playoffs and what we were talking about earlier, a second loss for whoever comes out of this one with the L.
It's damaging.
What does that do to your playoff opportunities? Because you got to look at the rest of the schedule. Where are there some more quality wins out there for you? Going to be interesting. LSU at home getting 3. Give me Lane. Give me the Ole Miss Rebels.
Eli?
Saturday night in Death Valley.
I hear you.
Will there be any alcohol consumed? Yes
Some
or no?
Cajun juice.
I have memories, though, of last year watching the Ole Miss offense just go up and down the field against the LSU defense as if it wasn't out there. And I think the LSU defense might be a little bit better, but I'm not sure it's that much better. And they don't have Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas to try and keep up with Ole Miss in this one. I'm going to take the Rebels.
Ole Miss. Don't need to say much more. I think they handle business. All right. This is a sneaky good game in the Big 12. Kansas State playing really well, -3.5, so they're a road favorite at Colorado. Has Coach Prime found something? HG.
I'm going to take K-State.
Eli?
K-State.
I'm going with the Wildcats as well. Dan?
K-State.
All right. And then finally, the new shiny toy of the SEC.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt. You guys watch SEC shorts?
Yes, those guys
so
are brilliant.
So funny with Vandy. Vandy gets 14 at Kentucky. Will there be a letdown? They're obviously not the favorite, but will they be able to stay within the 2 touchdowns, maybe even pull another upset off? Eli.
I would think here that there's got to be a little bit of a letdown. However, at this point, I mean, if you're going to give me Diego Pavia and 14 points against Kentucky, got to take it. He's Mr. Upset.
I'm surprised it's 14. I'm going to do the same thing with Vanderbilt, but I really feel that there's a good chance there's a big letdown and Kentucky goes in there like they beat up on Ole Miss and wallops them. I think that's a possibility, but I'm going to take Vandy. Dan?
I'll take Vandy.
Harold?
Yeah, Kentucky, number one defense, scoring defense. I think it's going to be close. I think Kentucky wins the game, but I'm going to take those 14 points.
All right, so we're
Vandy.
in unison with Vandy. Now our best play, which is our best game. Harold?
I am going to say Texas.
Texas, your best play. Eli?
It really isn't one that I love out of this group. Kansas State.
Yep, that's mine as well. Dan, your best play?
I think I'll go with you guys with Kansas State.
Okay, there we go. It's Harold versus Dan, Week 7, Pick 6. Dan, thank you for getting in. Thank you for listening.
Hey, Greg, I got a quick question for you. Have you heard from your sister?
Nope, still haven't heard. Hopefully she's okay.
My sister's place is in Naples. She lost her house 2 years ago.
Oh, no.
And rebuilt, and she was okay. I talked to her a little while ago.
Good.
I'm glad she's okay. I hope your family's good.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Dan. Thanks for listening. Take care of yourself.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
You too.
All right, Dan, thanks.
Yeah, scary down there. We'll talk about that. And as far as an hour ago when Ryan joined us, the game's still on. I still don't believe it's going to be played on Saturday afternoon in Tampa. I don't think Eli believes that. But, again, no announcement as of now. We'll talk to Harold about that and some other things as we continue here on the program.
Genesis Diamonds, Poplar & Perkins Extended. If you're thinking about getting engaged, want a beautiful engagement ring from the best designers in the world, go see the folks at Genesis Diamonds. They've got everything you could imagine. Massive selection from all of those top designers. Huge selection of diamonds, both natural and lab-grown. All sizes, all shapes, whatever you're looking for. Any budget out there, the folks at Genesis Diamonds have you taken care of. Poplar & Perkins Extended.
You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli and the AutoZone Liberty Bowl Inside College Football Hour here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wallow said hello.
Memphis, it's official. Crab King Seafood is where it's at. For the most flavored seafood and the biggest plates, run to a Crab King's near you. Visit the Bartlett Cordova location at 7140 Stage Road. The price, the portions, the service is why Crab Kings is #1. So don't be disappointed in seafood. Make the right choice the first time and every time. Make it Crab Kings. Crab Kings have only locally grown catfish. Come and devour tasty snow crabs, king crab, shrimp, salmon, catfish, calamari, and so much more. Enjoy Memphis's best tasting pasta with your choice of toppings. Visit the Bartlett Cordova location at 7140 Stage Road. Crab Kings is open Wednesday through Sunday. Enjoy 50% off lunch portions and dollar fountain drinks. The #1 name in Cajun seafood is Crab Kings Seafood, a Memphis favorite. Crab Kings, 7140 Stage Road. Kings with the Z.
How's Wingstop sound? Crispy, juicy, classic wings. Made to order, cooked to perfection. And sauced and tossed in those 11 soul-satisfying flavors. Paired with hand-cut seasoned fries, house-made honey mustard, blue cheese, or signature Wingstop ranch. And of course, spicy Cajun fried corn. I think you've heard enough. Get your flavor delivered at Wingstop.com.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Sports 56 morning. This hour is brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Now, early from the AutoZone Living Room inside College Football Hour. Here are your hosts, Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy.
Again, a big shout out to Jenkins Floors and More, our third hour sponsor. Go visit them in Horn Lake or give them a call if you're looking for flooring, carpeting, all kinds of great stuff. Discounted. They sell it wholesale to the customers. It's Jenkins Floors and More. All right, so you heard some of our interview with Ryan Silverfield last hour. And again, you know, coaches, tunnel vision. They're concentrating on getting ready to play a game until they're told otherwise. I know you have friends, people you know down in the Tampa area. Have you heard anything? I'm sure once the assessment is completed, with the electricity that's out and the flooding and all that, and they'll make that call probably in the next, I would imagine, few hours, just to say, yes, we're going to do it, or no, it can't happen.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know if the University of Memphis has been given a drop dead, a go or no go deadline. You know, but as Ryan said, he's a football coach. He's laser focused on doing what they do, and
until they tell him different, he's going to prepare for a game.
Yeah, but the administration, Ed and his team of folks, obviously communicating with USF and the league office. It'll be interesting to see what they do. You know, just putting on the game, you wonder, you know, would they potentially play without fans? Just play the game. You know, you've got stadium workers, concessions if you open it to the public. Just the law enforcement needed for if there is traffic or whatever. All of those pieces, are those people even available?
Yeah.
Or even though they've announced a game on Saturday, I mean, is Plan B or C still to potentially play somewhere else in the state of Florida that is open this week? I know Florida State is either off or on the road, and not sure about Florida. Let me look real quick.
Well, Florida's at Tennessee.
At Tennessee. There you go. So the Swamp would be open.
Well, the Swamp may be the Swamp, though. Because,
it very well may
because Orlando, I know, where my sister lives, is underwater, and so that takes that stadium out of the mix. Gainesville's not that far from there, so I don't know what that situation is. This is what I do know. First of all, Tim Pernetti, the new commissioner of the American Conference, who's been on our show, both on the phone and in person, like the guy an awful lot. I just think and again, this is low as far as importance, a football game, compared to destruction and fatalities or anything that's happened in Florida and anywhere else. But as far as the game itself is concerned, if this game ends up being canceled, it's an epic failure because they could have gotten it done where they have decided, all right, we're going to play in this, make your calls. We're going to play over here, this state, whatever, or bring it to Memphis. Instead, they just moved it one day, less than 24 hours. Now, I know Tampa, it got hit bad. It didn't get hit as bad as it could have. That's what you told me from the response you got.
Yep.
But you still think it's going to be very hard to put on a football game. And if they end up canceling the game, there's no excuse for that. They could have gotten it changed. Maybe they'll play. Maybe they'll shock all of us and play. Again, Coach Silverfield's doing the right thing, as is Coach Golish, getting their teams prepared to play a football game.
At this point, I'm not going to be shocked if they play the game. I just think it's dumb to play the game in Tampa. I just think it looks horrendous with these people and the destruction there to say we're going to play a football game here. We're going to ignore that and play a football game here. I just think it's dumb.
So yeah, you're looking at it differently, but understandably. I know what you mean. I'm looking at it more practical. Like
as you come to the game, dodge all the stuff in the roadways, and the debris and everything else. But hey, come to watch a football game.
Well, you're putting people's lives in danger if you're talking about driving through flood-ravaged areas and you have no electricity. Then come on out to the game.
And as you said,
students,
with all the different workers and stuff, you got like, hey, we need you to work. Take a break from trying to figure out where your house is and where all your stuff is and how you're going to deal with this flooding. Come work a game for us because we got a football game to play.
People were told to leave the city, to evacuate. Are they coming back today? There's no way they're coming back today. The students aren't even in class, right?
University shut down. Airport is still closed, right?
Yeah, I mentioned the text I got. Again, I don't know if it's accurate or not about using Raymond James if they need an evacuation area. Again, I don't know. Well, I still don't know how. I know it's bad. We can use our common sense and our eyes to tell you it's bad. Just how bad, I don't know until I get off the air and I'm able to go watch the Weather Channel and read stories about it and all that. But I'm sure, look, we got coaches meetings set for 11:30. Hasn't been canceled. Now, what I don't have yet is travel itinerary for tomorrow. So I'm sure they're waiting. The last thing they wanted to do was cancel all their stuff, which they had to because the game moved one day, and then set it all up again and cancel it again. So I think they're waiting for the definitive answer, which will come sometime, I'm guessing, early this morning or later this afternoon. Because we were talking during the break, and you said, what about the truck? Right?
Yeah.
You got to send the truck.
Yeah.
But I think from here to Florida, you can get there in...
Well, to Tampa, I don't know. Was it a 10-hour drive?
Yeah, I mean, you could leave tomorrow and get there. That's not a problem, right?
I would think that's at least a 10-hour drive.
Yeah, but they could do it Friday. They could do it tomorrow.
But you also have... There will be a lot of people now heading back into Tampa who are returning after evacuating. When you get down there, you'll run into a lot of traffic.
That's true.
Of people coming back into the city to assess what the heck they're dealing with now with their homes and everything else.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too. The hotels, the workers, you got to put on a big to-do when a team comes and stays at your hotel, from food to the rooms that you have to have ready to go, from chambermaids to workers there, cooks, things of that nature.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what that situation would be. You certainly don't want to go and you're staying at a place that's minimal amount of people to help you out, employees.
Yeah, and I was just looking at USF's football Twitter. No update. Nothing's changed. Their last post was yesterday. Said stay safe, Tampa, with a graphic, and then 2 days ago, obviously the announcement of moving the game to Saturday. So no news on the Bulls Twitter or X.
All right, so what else is going on? Look, we're in October now, so we can start talking about the two leagues that are going to be represented in your game, the SEC, the Big 12, and while we're still a ways away from determining which teams will be playing, things are starting to get a little interesting as conference play is now a big part of all the leagues.
We're going to have bowl-eligible teams.
Well, absolutely, and we're to that point in the season. We'll start with the SEC. Going into this week's games, they have 3 teams with 5 wins. Texas A&M, they're off this week. Texas is at 5, so a win over Oklahoma, they're bowl eligible. Ole Miss as we were talking about in the pick. They're at LSU. If Ole Miss wins, they're bowl eligible. Then you look at teams with 4 wins. That's LSU, Georgia, Arkansas, Mizzou, Tennessee, Alabama, Oklahoma. So they've got a slew of schools who are headed that way. 4 teams at 3 wins right now. Vandy, Florida, South Carolina, Kentucky. So they all have some work to do. We talked about Vandy earlier in the show. But 2 of the 3 teams with 5 wins on the SEC side of the ledger have the opportunity to get bowl eligible this week. On the Big 12 side, again, they had 3 teams at 5 wins. Texas Tech, they're off this week. BYU plays Arizona, and Iowa State has 5 wins. They are at West Virginia. So could be a couple there on the Big 12 side get bowl eligible. They have 4 teams with 4 wins: Colorado, K-State, Arizona State, Utah, and then 6 teams sitting there with 3 wins as we are at the midway point here: West Virginia, Arizona, Cincinnati, UCF, TCU, Oklahoma State. So those 6 schools have some work to do, but we could and likely will have some teams from both the SEC and the Big 12 get bowl eligible this weekend. So we're headed that way to the magic number of 6 and beyond.
And again, later today, in a few hours, you're going to be announcing the coaches for your high school all-star game.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. You folks here at Sports 56 will have the radio broadcast. The game will be televised here in the Memphis area on Channel 5. So we appreciate our media partners and the exposure that you folks will be giving the young men playing in the all-star game. The deadline, coaches, if you're listening, the deadline for nominations is November 1st. Then about a week later, we'll be picking the teams with our selection committee. And then the ball game coming up December 14th, I think, is the Saturday, for the 22nd AutoZone Liberty Bowl High School Football All-Star Game.
And so that for people that is for the teams and how they are picked, that is players who are nominated by their head coaches.
Yes, the players are nominated by their head coaches, and we have a committee of coaches, some media folks who cover high school athletics, folks that really follow. So we're going to pick the top 80-plus high school seniors in Memphis, in Shelby County, and a couple of schools that play within the TSSAA. A couple in Tipton County, a couple over in Fayette County, even
Nice.
1 or 2 down in DeSoto County. Even though their schools are in Mississippi, they still play in the TSSAA. So all of those schools, we encourage them to nominate a player. And one of our rules, one of our guidelines from the bowl perspective, why we do this is to give as many senior players an opportunity to be exposed to potential college coaches, scholarship opportunities. So we mandate that every school that nominates a player is going to get a player in this game.
Very nice. Very nice. Safe travels down to Tuscaloosa.
Looking forward to it. Thank you. And if you're headed to Tampa or other parts unknown, as they say, good luck and be safe.
Thank you, HG. Tonight, by the way, Coastal Carolina and James Madison could be an interesting game. You got MTSU, La Tech, UTEP, and Western Kentucky. It's been a busy week already of college football with games that started on Tuesday. There was the game last night where Jacksonville State crushed New Mexico State by the score of 54-13. That'll do it for us today. We thank you for listening, folks. We want to thank our great guests, Ken Wisenhunt, the new Showboats head coach, Memphis Tigers football coach Ryan Silverfield, Kerry Miller from Bleacher Report, and, of course, Harold Grader. Eli back tomorrow. I will be off tomorrow. John Varlas will join Eli. Daryl Moose Johnston, the 3-time Super Bowl champion, will join Eli as well. And Brandon Lang, of course, with his picks from the NFL and college football. That's all coming up tomorrow, starting bright and early at 7 a.m. Waldo and Friends on Sports 56 is coming up next. For Eli, for Harold, for Elijah, I'm Greg. Have a great day, everybody.
Family Leisure is having the world's
and it's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. And